everybody? WTF? Welcome to Funkatopia.
What's up?
I'm your host, Mr. Christopher. This is my illustrious co-host, Mr. Jeff Paige. Oh my gosh, yeah, it is. Man, it's been a minute since we've been on. Look at me, I'm wearing glasses now and everything on here.
I know that Minneapolis really got you, man. Your voice is like, "Ugh."
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was like, yeah, I just got a lot of congestion and whatnot, and it was just a mess, and just happened like the last couple of days, and then it's kind of got a little bit worse as we went, but it's fine. I'm good. I'm all tested. I am COVID free and all that stuff, so it's not that. It's just, I guess, it's probably my body just for 2 weeks just been like just nonstop, just pow pow pow.
Yeah,
Pow.
I mean, when you go and you go and you go, eventually you're gonna break down until you slow down. That's pretty much it.
Oh, well, hello, everybody. Yeah, it's been a minute. We have I haven't been on in a minute because I've been traveling. I was in Maui a couple weeks ago, and then I flew back home to Atlanta. So it was 2 flights there, 2 flights back, and I was home in Atlanta for 1 day, just long enough to unpack and then repack, and then head out to Minneapolis Wednesday through Sunday. And then, oh my God, that Sunday return trip was total garbage.
What?
It was the flight was supposed to leave at 8:30, and then it was supposed to get in at like right at midnight, like 11:58. It was a half an hour delayed, but they had some storm system on Sunday night, so it ended up not getting in until like 1:00 in the morning. Then we sat at the gate for like 15-20 minutes waiting for somebody to put a walkway thing onto the plane on B gate.
Oh,
Finally, we get off the plane, and then it's all the way at the end of B gate. And if you're familiar with Atlanta, we have a big airport. It is like really friggin' big. And so we had to walk like 5 football fields just to get to the escalator to go down to where the train is that will take you to the baggage claim, only to find out that the train stops operating at midnight. So then I had to walk like many other football fields just to get to the baggage claim, over to A, then over to terminal, then over to baggage claim. By the time I get up to baggage claim, the bags are already, everybody's bags are already out. They're just sitting dead on the carousel, just sitting.
Oh man.
And then of course I got in the car, and man, the law of attraction was just not working for me that night. I was just like, I can't stop but thinking this is shit. This is horrible. But it was just bad. It was just one thing after another. And anyways, yeah, so then we hit the storm. I hit the thunderstorm on the way in, and it was coming down in sheets, and it was, by the time I got in bed, it was like 3:00 in the morning. I was just like,
Man, wow. Hey, my story's worse. Can I share mine? This is a competition.
yeah, go ahead. Why not?
I got on the plane and I got home. That's it. Hey, every time I travel somewhere and it's a big event, I go through like all this ridiculous stuff. Last time I got stranded in Minneapolis. This time, no drama. All right. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Well, I saw that Craig Alexander and Shelby J made it okay to Minneapolis, so I did see them there after the Houston thing. We're gonna talk about your trip to Houston, talk about what happened there with the Shelby J concert and everything that was going on there, and then I'm going to talk about the celebration every single day, everything that happened, the events that happened, some of the highlights of that, and maybe get a little bit of feedback. I'll try to watch everything. Anisha, hello. Now, actually, Anisha has been on since 2:13 a.m. I think a second. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, like first. She was the first one, right? Still waiting. She put up there.
I don't even know what that's about.
What is going on?
I don't know. Deborah, Donna, Samantha, Veronica, April
Hey.
from Tampa. Oh my gosh. Yes,
Karen, what's up?
Yeah, Karen hanging out with us in the house. Yeah, Karen and I were hanging out too. Karen actually
Project
saved
Smile
me.
for you.
Karen
Third wave in the live. What's up?
Karen saved me Saturday night because DJ Rashida was playing, and I just felt like I'd been punched in the face by everything. I said, I need to get back. And she was like, I'll take it back. I was like, all right, cool. Arlene, Amy, Anisha's back. Anisha, I don't know what you were doing, but props.
I think she just turned it on and went to sleep.
Major props for hanging out all that time. Yeah. Yeah, so this is for those just tuning in. They're going, wow, they're just talking about a lot of nothing right now. Well, that's pretty much our show. No,
Martin Kember's in the building, in the room, in the.
Oh, Martin Kember's in there. Yeah, I got a chance to see Martin. We'll be talking about that too. Wednesday night when I got there to Minneapolis, Alfonso Starr was doing his dance party at Riley Creek, and Martin was there, and that was a lot of fun. And then, of course, Chaz, Prince's cousin, was actually doing a candlelight ceremony further up in front of Paisley Park. So that was there too. So that was kind of cool.
Awesome.
And we'll talk about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about all those things, and that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on tonight.
What happened?
Yeah, we're talking about all that stuff. This is great. Nobody hated on anybody. It was a love fest for sure.
Tonight was what happened was.
So see what happened was.
And you missed it.
Kabooyah!
We had it's gonna be a good recap. I think there's a lot of activity to be crammed in. Just so much going on. So, just understand if we miss a few details, it's not intentional. It's just a lot to cover. So,
oh my gosh, it's just a lot.
Yeah,
I'm just like. I know there'll be, so just to kind of give you an idea too, this is kind of funny. I transferred everything into the notes, but just so you know, people were kind of feeling bad for me. They were giving me grief about this stuff, but I was writing on the back of these, I'll taking notes on the back of these envelopes and stuff.
That's why you need your glasses.
But it was, no, I transferred it onto here. And that's the reason why the notes are in 18 point. And then of course I kept on doing it. I kept on ripping open the stuff, but it started out really bad. And here's how bad it started out. It started out with me writing notes on the back of business cards. These are our Funkatopia business cards. I was writing notes on the back of business card. And to make matters worse, before that, I actually had an old check, one of those big business checks, and I was writing notes on the back of the business check too. So it was.
What the heck kind of pens do you have to be able to write like that?
I don't know. It was a mess. I mean, I was writing very, very small, and it's like my notes are like on everything. I had to number them to make sure I put them in the right order, but is what it is. For those, I meant to finish my thought process. For those just turning in, this is the pre-show. The actual show starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is a mere 4 minutes from right now, and we still had a couple of items to talk about in this little window. First off, let me scroll up here. What's really cool, if you are a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/Funkatopia, that's patreon.com/Funkatopia, Funkatopia. They just announced today, Jeff, Paige, I don't know if you saw this or not, but they just announced today that they're going to allow us to upload videos there.
Awesome.
Which means I don't have to upload them to YouTube and then share a link or do this other stuff. I can just put them right there on StreamYard, which is freaking awesome. Yeah. It's just, that's really, really awesome. I'm very, very excited about it. I'm very excited about it. I
think that's great. I think that's going to be that's a well needed adjustment.
Hat? You like my new hat?
Dude, that's nice, man. That's pretty cool. Can I have it?
No.
Okay. Wow. Hey, can't help but to ask, right?
Putting things out. They kept putting things out at the Paisley Park store. They just threw some random stuff out here and there.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was actually it's just they would just bring random things out. I wanted to do a Third Eye Girl counter. Oh, you know what? I wanted to play this. I think I told you, but I don't know if you heard this. You guys ready? Everybody in the chat room. This is really, really cool. If you're listening to the Funked Up app on the radio show, which I have not started yet because the show hasn't officially started yet, but they probably will hear it because I put it in rotation. I just don't know when it will pop up. But for those of you who are not on the app, we have a brand new bumper, and I'm very excited about it. Are you guys ready for this brand new bumper? This is a bumper that's going to be in there. I'm very, very happy about it. Here it is. It is Jimmy Jam gave us a bumper. Here it is.
Hey, this is Jimmy Jam. If you want 24/7 Minneapolis funk radio, you better be listening to Mr. Christopher and the ASCAP licensed Funkatopia Radio. Yes.
Woot woot! Come
Woot
on,
woot.
now. That's gonna be in rotation.
And he said it right. He didn't say Funktopia.
Yeah, so that will be in rotation, and so expect to hear it on the radio show. Yeah, people are still asking me about the Stephen Burkhoff one, where we reenact the Under the Cherry Moon scene, the answering machine scene, and that, yes, for those who have not saw the Facebook post, yes, that is actually Stephen Burkhoff from Under the Cherry Moon, and he reenacted that answering machine thing for me, and was very, very cool for him to do. And so all that being said, and we had one more thing to do before we go live. Yes, okay, so when I got to Minneapolis, it was 49,000 followers is kind of so where I was like, man, it'd be awesome.
Yep.
We got to 50. It would be awesome if we got to 50K while I'm here in Minneapolis. Not only did we get to 50,000 followers on Facebook, but then it continued to grow even beyond that. So now it's like 51,500. So it'll probably be 52,000 before when the end of the day, Wednesday. So 51,000 followers on Facebook alone, which is just ridiculous. And thank you guys so much for the support and being here. And we have to reenact that gratitude, and thank you guys so much. But yeah, 51,000 is a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And no, we didn't pay for any of them. We did not pay. No matter, don't listen to anybody.
No, we didn't. No, this is organic. The
Completely
word is real.
100% organic, busting ass night and day, making sure you guys have good material and that you want to follow us.
And people are sharing it. People are sharing it because it's good material. So thank you.
Yeah, and there's some random stuff too. It's always weird. We always have this weird burst of things that, like, I think it started like years ago, not years ago, but probably like at the beginning of the year.
Back when I was 7.
Yeah, it was like the end of 2022 was Larry Graham's birthday. I don't remember exactly what day it was. And I said, happy birthday to Larry Graham. And I put up a picture of Larry and Prince. And it ended up being like piled on. Like all these stars were like, yeah, happy birthday, Larry. And next thing I know, it was like tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people were like on. I was like, it's a birthday post.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I think sometimes just weird things hit like that, and then when it happens, it just kind of creates this ball that just starts rolling, and if you keep on throwing stuff at it, it keeps rolling. And that's kind of the algorithm of this, and we've been doing a lot. But yeah,
and that one was hilarious because I remember, because you called me and you were like, what's going on? I don't understand. And we just looking at it like, man, that's how it should be.
Yeah, and somebody went to the Cure concert and took an amazing shot of Robert Smith from the Cure wearing a Prince Sign of the Times t-shirt at the show in Minneapolis that happened on the 7th or the 8th.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I posted that. I was trying to find out who the photographer was so I can give them some props, but it was just the picture was all over the Twitter. People were just sharing it everywhere, and I couldn't get to the source of it. But I posted that, and I just said, cool. And that's already been shared like 60,000 times too. And I'm like, or interacted with was like some ridiculous number. I don't understand. Okay, but it's great. It's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got to start this show so we can get the ball moving here. So let's take us out of the mix, and then we're going to actually start the show. And yeah, I've got to start the show. So give me just a minute. We're going to pull ourselves out. Don't freak out. We're not disappearing. Well, we kind of are just for a little bit. But we're going to officially start the show. Give me a second. Just too much talking is what this is. Love that new intro, dude.
That is the best.
Okay, let me just go ahead and just say, I that is only the second time we've played actually technically the third, because the first time we played it twice, we're like, oh, that's badass. Let's play it again. That was created. I commissioned Tora Borealis, who is the creator of the celebration logo that you guys saw everywhere. If you were in Minneapolis, Tora is the one that created that graphic, and he won that contest and was all over. And I loved his work, and I just said, I want to commission you. Can I please commission you to do an intro? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he goes like, this is how much it would cost, and we just kind of went through the details. And that's the end result. And I'm so happy that we actually have an official awesome intro created by Tora Borealis, who I just think is just, I mean,
I can't, like, that's just such a killer intro. Like, these, for those of you who are on the app and can't see this, you need to see this.
Yeah.
You just need to see this.
I've got my Winnie the Pooh mug. So we're killing it now.
So
yeah,
time for introductions.
WTF? Welcome to Funkatopia for you fine folks in on the app, for joining us on the web and everything, video wise, well, audio wise, and for all you video folks here. If you want to be part of the whole process, if you're on the app, please join us on Facebook.com/Funkatopia or YouTube.com/Funkatopia. There is some visuals here, just a couple little visuals, but you probably don't want to be left out. So join us there if you like, or if you're driving in the car, then please, by all means, just continue listening on the app. I am your host, Mr. Christopher. This is my illustrious co-host, Mr. Jeff Paige. How many times did you have to do that in Houston?
Hey, man, this one's for Henry Nelson.
You have to give one out to a John Nelson Jr. too, who I got a chance to hang out with in go ahead, give one to him too.
A special one.
Man, we just lost like half of our listeners.
I know what it's like.
Like, please stop. Yes.
No
more. Yeah, it's been a little bit. We have been. I've been out of the mix. 2 weeks ago, I was out of town. I was actually in Maui, 6 hours away. Well, 6 hour difference from where I was right now. Speaking of which, I got to meet Bonnie Freshore, who is running the printcelebration.com website for me, kind of putting up all the events that were happening in and around Minneapolis, which was really, really cool. Who is from Hawaii. That's the reason why I said that. I got to meet so many people. I probably took, it's got to be 100 plus selfies that I probably took. I don't even know how I even look like, not in Maui, at Minneapolis. But I was in Maui for a week. I got home for one day, and then I turned around, unpacked, repacked, and went to Minneapolis. And that was Minneapolis Wednesday through Sunday night, and now here I am. I am not going to relive my horrible return on Sunday. You should have watched the pre-show.
That was horrible, man. You can't say Maui to me without me thinking of Half Baked right off the bat. I'm like, Maui, wowie.
Speaking of which, I actually met a Funkatopian who found out that I was in Hawaii, not Bonnie, and actually met up with this person, and they were like, "Oh man, it's really, really great to meet you." And this was like the last day that we were in town. He says, "Man, I'd really like to gift you with some weed." I was like, last day, don't think it's going to go well through the airport, and I got my family in the car right behind me.
And unless you're willing to share with everyone.
But yeah, it was great. I mean, it was a fun time in Maui, and it was a great time in Minneapolis, and we're going to talk about that tonight. All we're talking about is, first off, to all you amazing followers, 51,000 followers on Facebook alone. We crossed, while I was in Minneapolis, we crossed over 50,000 followers, and then 51,000, which was insane. That's just a lot.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys.
Again. Yes. So we're going to talk about the celebration. We're going to talk about what happened in Minneapolis and the celebration from the time that I got there on Wednesday, which is actually the day before the celebration. So we're going to talk about some of the events that happened there. And we're going to talk about the actual celebration Wednesday through Sunday, and kind of give you an idea of how that all shook out. Some highlights from each one of the events that happened. And but before we do that, I'm going to allow, because, first off, let me just give a huge shout out to all the folks that kind of spearheaded the celebration, Londell McMillan, Charles Spicer Jr., and John Nelson Jr., who were all there. Very, very cool. They were all very, cordial and whatnot. So it was interesting to kind of see some of the things, the way that they're kind of unraveling. But before we get into that, because once I start talking, it's just going to be nonstop. So I guess I got to kind of prep myself, because I got a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm going to hand it over to you, because you, my friend Jeff Paige, were in Houston. And, you were in Houston in Texas. And for those outside of the United States, we're like, Houston, where's that? That Jersey?
Houston, Egypt.
Yeah.
What?
Houston, Arkansas.
Doesn't even make sense.
Houston, Arkansas, the best. They make the best armadillo on the planet.
Houston, anyway. Pacific.
You were in Houston with Shelby J. Shelby J was live there in Houston, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna make you a larger screen and me a smaller screen, and kind of give you about 5-10 minutes or whatever to kind of walk through what happened in Houston, and then we're gonna break to the celebration. Just do whatever you want to do, man.
Aww, I get a big screen. Of course.
Cool. That's what I'm gonna do.
I know.
Right? I'm gonna switch it out, and I'm gonna make myself little, and I'll let you do your thing. Go ahead.
Perfect. Well, first of all, shout outs to everybody who showed up for Prince Day Houston. It was an awesome time with you guys, and it was just watching everybody was a blast. Watching everybody just have such a good time. Craig Alexander really did his thing. That's all I can say. He tore it up. So I'm just gonna try to go through this day as efficiently as possible, but keep some details. But I'm just gonna move along, because there's a lot to go. And then when Chris goes through the whole celebration thing, so it's going to be a long night. I'll tell you this. When we first got there in the morning, we were graciously, and I say graciously, greeted by Sarita Dean. And Sarita Dean's with Project Smile for You. She's actually here tonight. She's out there in the mix. So thank you for being there. She's Greg's PR extraordinaire, right hand for all that's happening with the Prince Day Houston. And she was awesome. She took us to the Breakfast Club, which for Houston is the spot to go to. And I have to agree, it was amazing, the food there. I actually posted videos throughout while we were out there. I didn't spend a lot of time taking a bunch of pictures and trying to get selfies with everybody. I just do some videos, post, and we're good. The breakfast club had delicious food, and I can imagine why. That's the hot spot. And anybody, if you go to Houston, make that on your list of places to go. I met the owner, Marcus Davis. Great person, and just wonderful ideas and concepts behind what they're doing. So I get it. We went through Fifth Ward, and we made a stop at Third Ward. Third Ward, man, Mr. Christopher, I don't even know what to say. The artwork, the graffiti, the artwork, the George Floyd mural was there. I was moved by it. There was so many great messages in the words that were up there in the graffiti, and what people were putting in these murals and creating. That's what was moving me. And I created some videos addressing that, and I'll be posting those gradually too. These streets breed legends. Together we are strong. The time is always now. I mean, those kind of things, that's the kind of power that people need to hear, people need to know and think about. There was a really cool mural of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. And it's huge. It's a whole wall of the building, and it was spectacular. I really enjoyed that stuff. Sarita Dean, I just thank you for showing us around and giving us all that. And she made sure, her and Craig, of course, made sure that the whole day was perfect for us. Gypsy and I showed up, and they just took care of us completely. Sarita Dean is the co-founder for Project Smiles. If you see her out there right now in the chat, Project Smile for You. Project Smiles USA, the Facebook page, Project Smile for You. And their mission, I had to look them up because I got to know, man, these people are so amazing. Her mission is to promote healthy habits and self-confidence through creative expression. that says it all. And then it's all about art. So when we were going through the city and we were talking about the art and the Prince art that's out there in different places, she's involved in that through Prince Artist Study, I believe it is, which is again the same thing on the Facebook page, Prince Artist Study, and their thing is revolutionizing the celebration of Prince's legacy through art and community. So you're not everything out there she's doing is just amazing, and I really appreciate it and loved every bit of it. And that was just us touching down. We touched down, went to breakfast, and started looking at all the stuff throughout the city. And Third Ward, props. I mean, I just loved it over there. I mean, you hear, Chris, you hear stuff about places. It's worth going to and checking out. So then we went to the hotel, hung out, eventually checked in, and later on in the afternoon, towards the evening, I actually met up. Me and Gypsy, we met up with Sharon Nelson, Monique, Linda, and Ariathea to grab a bite to eat before going to the event. So the five of us sat down and just ate, and it was really nice because we didn't have to. You talk about everything and nothing. It's kind of nice to have the quiet before the storm. So we did that. We just enjoyed ourselves and enjoyed the food, even though it was interesting because the wait that we had to make, but we ended up getting what we wanted and enjoyed it. Then we headed over to Prince Day, Houston. Now we talk about Prince Day, Houston, the Velvet Room. I got there, and I will say that the energy right off the bat, I'm going to show you guys this real quick. I just take videos. I'll let that kind of run. The energy was immediate when we got there. You could feel it before you walked in, but once we were in, the place was alive. It was a lot of that footage is happy hour. This was before the crazy stuff and before the rest of the people even showed up. It was already active and busy and just crazy going on. But it was a sign of things to come. Let's see. We got some gifts. Let me show you this. So, of course, the VIP and tickets and all that. We got our nice little passes. This is an awesome logo. I was proud to wear it and display it. This thing is really cool looking. And on the back was the actual layout, the scheduled events. So we knew exactly what was going on. I got a button. I mean, a button thing, a pin thing, which is pretty cool. You got a magnet. Yes, we got trinkets and toys, and then I got this little doohickey. This is a I don't know, cufflinks, I guess, or clip-on or whatever. I was actually tempted to put it in my ear because I was just like, this is kind of cool. So Mada was cool with that. We got some stuff, and as the events went on, we even got to make our own noise. So we had some fun, a blast, making sure that everybody was having a good time. In we had the honor of curated or specialty drinks for Prince Day Houston. This event was sponsored by was it GO Vodka, GO3 Vodka. It's General Order number 3, and it's by Jubilee Spirits. They were the actual alcohol sponsors of the event. And man, I looked them up. Everything about what these guys are doing is actually rip off. I know I met the owner. I met one of the owners, Ron Lockett. Great guy too, really nice. And I'm not just trying to like gas them up or anything, but I did look them up, and I really like the whole idea, the concept between the name for General Order number 3. You're gonna have to go to their website, go3.com, go3vodka.com. Check it out. Like their vodka. They donate 8.65% of their net proceeds from Jubilee Spirits to support historically Black colleges and universities. And again, that kind of stuff to me is like, man, that's what it's all about. It's about community giving back to the community. So I really appreciate that. Like I said, check out their website, go3vodka.com, and you can buy the vodka there too. They made specialty drinks. They were, let me read off the names that they had because we got a list of them, but I'll read them off. There was Little Red Corvette, which was a Cape Cod. There's the Lemon Crush. which is a lemon drop, pink cashmere, cosmopolitan, golden parachute. The golden parachute is the Y bomb, which is the shot. And of all the drinks, that was the one I couldn't do because the Y bomb, you have one shot, then you're gonna have 12. I don't know. I can't do shots because I just don't stop.
It's good.
They had the purple rain. Purple rain was great. It was the GO3 vodka, lemonade, blue curacao, and grenadine. Good stuff. The champagne was even special. They had champagne, which was the house champagne garnished with a cherry. They called it the Continental. So it's cool. And then they had a fruit juice medley spritzer. I can't even say that. I had to write that down because my mouth does not do that. The fruit juice medley spritzer called the Free Spirit. Well, it's the Free Spirit, but it's called the Rainbow Children. And I thought all the drinks were really clever names. I loved it. I thought that was awesome. So thank you guys for that. And they were just great guys. The events were really great. The video showcase, the love symbol stuff, all the video that was going on. Maya Imani Watson, she was doing paintings all over. And actually, I think she was painting throughout the night also. So there were paintings throughout the building. And then at night, she was also doing work. So that was awesome to watch. Then the DJs were doing their thing. We had DJ Michelle McKnight, Purple Music Classics, the Sexy MF set, they called it. She did her thing. Then, of course, Shelby J came out, murdered the stage. I mean, murdered.
And just so we're clear, Shelby is in the chat room right now, talking it up with everybody. I know you kind of just reading along, but hello, Shelby. How are you, dear? It's good to see you.
Awesome. Hey, Shelby. Hey, I know I'm going a little fast. I can't help it. I'm just rolling along here.
It's all good.
But awesome that Shelby's here too. She did her thing. She really did. I love her to death. And I was gonna save this, but since you're here, Shelby, I'm gonna talk about you anyways. Everybody knows that she does the crochet. Well, at least she's been spreading the word about that. And I have one too. And the thing is amazing. But what most do not know yet is she's got another business venture going on. Yes, I'm outing you right now. I'm talking about it whether you like it or not. They're called shell beads. Shell beads. And these things are pretty cool too. I have one. I bought a few, but only one is mine. The rest were gifts. And that says something because the quality of them, this is something that you actually can feel good giving away as gifts. I'm going to hold these up and show you these shell beads. These are beautiful. She's got her favorite one's called Playing in the Sunshine, I think it was. It's a nice one with a nice little trinkets and things coming off of it. It's really cool stuff. But shell beads is really good. You want to talk to her, and now you got more stuff to get from Shelby. So I had to talk about it. Can't help myself. I did pick that stuff up too. I love it. And so there. I talked about it. After Shelby did her thing, we had DJ Jam Blaster did the Dance Electric set, and he knocked it out. Also, he did his thing. A couple of things were going on in the back. I love you too, Shelby. A couple of things were going on in the back. Was it was like, I call it a hidden VIP, I guess, because we had Phil. Oh, wait. Yeah, we had Phil Gillespie back there, and he had a collection of it's memorabilia for Prince items, a collection of things. But the stuff the stuff that he had was really amazing stuff. And a lot of people bypassed him. They didn't actually stop to talk to him because he doesn't really go around just doing these exhibits. So he was just there to show it off and share. But the stuff was deep. And I think the way it was laid out, it looked like, what are you just selling Prince stuff? You know, he's not selling it. He was displaying it for you to appreciate because it's the real deal. And he showed me his collection. I saw some pictures. Mr. Christopher, you and I will get with him and have some more conversation because the amount of things he has is awesome. And we talked about Japan, and he actually turned me on to a Prince tribute band in Japan. And that was pretty awesome too. Yeah.
I have to do this.
Yes. Yeah. So it was awesome. They did their thing. There was also body art going out throughout the place. I have the name of those that did the body art, and I'm sorry about the delays on that too, but I've got it here somewhere. Well, I'll pull it up. I'll go back through it when we get to the end. But we had body art, and some of that stuff was amazing too. Very body arts, yeah, yeah. So as Shelby,
I don't know what that means. It
all right,
sounds
people are
like,
taking
sounds like
pictures.
you're feeling some sort of way about
People are
body
taking
art.
pictures and enjoying themselves.
Okay, go ahead.
There's just some pictures that I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not really a photo person. I don't really get into. I don't do a lot of pictures. And these were body art, so they're not really dressed. You know what I mean? So I was like, I can't post this stuff everywhere. You know, even though I can, it's not me. I just like.
Would you like to come to my room? I got some turpentine, baby.
I know. I felt myself like.
Come on, I had to say it. Sorry, go ahead. Ruin the moment. Leave it to Mr. Christopher to ruin the
Hey,
moment.
nah, man, it's all right, man. I'll see you later.
I'll see you later. Just call me Turpentine.
Great moment for those of you that were there. I know you enjoyed it. I posted it as well. Shelby J, she was honored. You guys know about Nick Garcia, who is making the cane, the Prince replica canes and those kind of things. He had made one specifically for Mr. Craig Alexander, and actually made another one for Shelby J. And unbeknownst, I finally get to use that in a sentence. Unbeknownst to her, she was honored with that during her performance, during her show. And it was an awesome moment. She wasn't ready for it. She wasn't aware. Her sister knew, which is awesome that family can keep it quiet. But yeah, so I thought that was an awesome thing. And the cane was pretty impressive. I was just like, beautiful.
Yeah, Nick Garcia is a monster, just so we're clear. He makes some amazing canes, and I actually have a guitar that he actually made for me.
Yeah.
He just said, I'm sending you something. This was years ago. And then he just sent me this replica guitar that he made. And it was like this huge box. And was like, sent me something means like a hat or a shirt. There's a big old box. I was like, God dang. All right. God dang. It's nice. Yeah, I had to make a special but that I did see the cane. For those who I don't think he has it in the video here, but on Facebook there is a post that that Jeff Paige put up that has it's like a 10-12 minute video of the canes being presented to Shelby and everything. So it was really, really cool. It was very, very cool to see that. Those canes look nice too, and that was some really good work from Nick.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, man, Craig Alexander knows how to put on a show, because just the flow of the way it went, even from Shelby burning the stage down and then him giving her the cane and going through her thing. And she still did the outro, like, thank you, I got my stuff, and yeah. And she went back to her song and ended on her song, walked off the stage down into the audience, finishing out her set. I mean, it was just, the power was just like, yeah. So
with the cane in her hand, did she walk off the stage with the cane?
Yeah, with the cane.
Kind of pimping off the stage. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night. Hey, she didn't drop that. I'll tell you. Yeah, Prince Day Houston was fire. And so I will give out. I want to give like shout outs to. I feel it's important because Craig Alexander does a lot of work. I mean, he runs this thing. He handles all this stuff. But this is one of those times where it was so big, and he knows, this is bigger than him. This is bigger than everybody. Everything that we're all involved in is bigger than any one individual. And so he had a team of people that were really involved in doing a lot. So I wanted to shout some of those people, some of those names out of people that were really really involved. And some of them I mentioned, some I hadn't. Maya Imani Watson, she was the art director. And again, it was the glam art showcase and paintings of Prince and the live art. So she was there. Vonetta Berry, that's the ABC, the body art director. She did amazing art. William Ross, that's Def Jam Blaster. He did his thing. Was it Clady Broussard? She was the music or Clady, yeah, I think it is. The music director and the showcase assistant. Phil G, that's we're gonna call him Phil G. That's his name. Phil G. He was this is the word Craig taught me because I wouldn't have known. The antiquarian That's the person that collects some significant things. He was like that in Craig style. That's the end. I know my voice can't go like this, but he's like, as the antiquarian. And that's like, oh, okay. I can't talk next to him because I feel like I'm going, hey guys.
Yeah.
So and then there was a Ron Lockett, who is the co-owner for GO3 vodka and the co-owner and operator, and the liquor sponsor for the event. And then Ray Marshall, who's also a sponsor. And Ray Marshall was the owner and chief operator for JBP Security. And hey, we could be family. I don't know what JP stands for, but those are my initials too. JBP Security. And that is the one thing that all places, when they do events, nobody thinks about. How good is the security? What's going on with the security? We only notice them when there's problems. These guys did a great job of, no matter what was happening, it just felt comfortable. You know, that you didn't feel uncomfortable with people looking at you, standing around or moving the crowd. So kudos to the security for keeping everything in order and lined up. We had, we keep going real quick, Michael Lee, who was also a sponsor, and he's the owner and operator for Chick-fil-A restaurants. HEB Grocery Suppliers, you know, grocery, sandwich, fruits, all that. Crystal Alexander and Pam Dickey, they're executive assistants. So they did a lot of work. Nia and Nixon Alexander, merchandise managers. Thank you very much. Nick, what is it? Nikki for Ephraim. She was handled the door and the hostess, and did a great job. And those are all of Craig's folks. And if I did leave anybody out or didn't say somebody's name correctly, I apologize. It was not intentional. It's just, sometimes it happens that way. So I think you guys deserve a great shout out. And the one thing I want to make sure I do, because I feel like this is important, we always mention Craig Alexander's name. You know what I'm saying? Christopher, we say his name, we talk about him all the time, but everybody doesn't always know everything that people are into. So yeah, he runs Prince Day Houston and created that and did his thing. And by the way, the proclamation was on the stage for Prince Day Houston. I did get a picture. I apologize for not getting that up. I will post that as well. But what you don't know, and I'm going to put this up because I feel like this requires a special attention. He has his own company, entertainment business, and it's called Second to None Entertainment. And that's marketing and other events and comedy shows and all types of things, all things entertainment. And I know my name is blocking that, but yes, I wanted to shout that out specifically. That's Craig Alexander's business. That's what he does. And that's why he knows how to put on an event and run something and make it like a show and what it's supposed to be. And Second to None Entertainment, Facebook, make sure you check them out. And IG, it's the same thing. Second, the number 2, none. And I just wanted to make sure I put that up there because, hey, there's a lot more to him than just Prince Day Houston. And so thanks, everybody. Kudos to everybody. I enjoyed all of our time with everyone. So that's Wednesday, Prince Day.
Yeah, I made sure I was muted because, again, we had such a great time, and I just been, constantly moving 2 weeks. I'm glad that you guys had that Funkatopia was able to be in the house over Houston. And of course we had so much going on in Minneapolis itself. And, I don't even know where to start, but, as you can tell by the notes, I got quite a bit to talk about, but I am, once again, shout out to Craig Alexander and and Prince Day Houston group. I know they did quite a heck of a show. And of course, Shelby kills it every single time. Shelby kills it. Hey, Shelby, you kill it every single time. And we're going to talk a little bit about Shelby. I even have the set list that Shelby did at the celebration. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Stokely's. What's funny with, not to fast forward, I want to talk about stuff out of context here, now that we're moving on to Celebration 2023. But when Stokely came on, for some reason, I was put front row center. And like, I literally was the front row middle. There was the aisle right here. I was right there. And it was just like, Okay, and I look down all the way down, and I see Shelby sitting by herself, like all the way down at the end, and I was just like, "Oh, this can't be." And so I walked down to her and I said, "Shelby, you want to switch with me? You want to switch places with me?" She goes, "I'm good here." I was like, "I'm right there, front center." She was fine where she was at, so I was like, "Okay, all right, okay, you can just stay where you're at."
You're like, no.
No, it's all right. So, all right. So let's now talk about. Zakiya says, "Wish Rosie Gaines were there." Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about that too because she definitely was there in spirit and voice too. So we're gonna talk about that.
Right.
Let me make sure that my phone is on silent here because now all of a sudden people are going to text me, "Hey, don't forget to talk about me."
Jeff forgot something.
Yeah, no, you forgot something.
I don't know.
Okay,
There were a lot of people working tables for merchandise and
you were
handling.
naming people at the door. I didn't do any of that.
Hey, to the people running
Just
the
so we're
tables.
clear.
Thank
Don't
you.
expect. There was a lot of people's names that I could obviously mention going on and on from Tommy to. I mean, there's so many people that are at Paisley Park. I mean, just like it's like a long list. But let's go ahead and get started, anyways. All right, so we're gonna talk about the celebration. So, I got there on June 7th, Wednesday. When I arrived, luckily my flight got in there early, and the hotel let me check in at 9:30 in the morning,
Wow.
which was insane. That was ridiculous. But the room was already ready, so I was able to go up. So I was really, really happy about that. But to kind of talk about events, we went to you can go to facebook.com/Funkatopia, and I went live a few times. I think a couple of the things may have overwritten or conflicted with lives that Jeff did, because Jeff actually spent some time with Shelby J at that event, and for some reason I guess I was doing live at the same time, and you would think that Facebook would have something in place where if two things happen at once, at least we'll save something or just create two different worlds, but that didn't happen. So we need to get Shelby J on the show and have her come out and just discuss whatever.
Absolutely. We had a great little interview, a little intimate after a post show kind of sit down talk. It was great.
Yeah. So we went to so that Wednesday night, June 7th, went to Riley Creek. So you can go to facebook.com/Funkatopia and you can see the live that I did from Riley Creek. Alfonso Starr was having a dance party down there at Riley Creek to celebrate 7 years of Prince's transition, the 65th birthday of Prince. And on top of that, they had up the walkway up in front of where Paisley Park was, Chaz was there doing a candlelight service right in front of Paisley Park. So the two events were happening right there at Riley Creek, which is right in front of Paisley Park. Again, for those who don't know where Riley Creek is, if you're standing with Paisley Park behind you, essentially what you do is you kind of move, you go in front to the street and you just follow that golf cart path down, and it will take you into Riley Creek where graffiti bridges. There's actually 3 separate tunnels that have a bunch of graffiti in it. And it's a very, very cool little place. But right when you first get on that golf cart, Chaz was out there doing the candlelight service. And then if you continued down the path, Alfonso Starr and a bunch of people were down there, and they hit a whole, there was art installation down there. Mary Johnson was down there doing, she even had some more artwork. Oh my gosh, I forgot to put that out here. But anyway, so they had a bunch of art that was down there, lots of crafts and things, and everybody was doing the candlelight stuff, and it was a lot of fun. It started to rain a little bit, but other than that, it was a really, really good time.
Was it purple?
No, the rain was not purple. that would have been awesome. Actually, technically it was, because
it would have been.
Alfonso had some lights out there, so he was kind of making it purple, so it did kind of look a little bit Super Bowl-y on a much smaller scale. For sure. But so then I had 3 places that I had to go on June 7th. That was the first. Second place was I went from there down to downtown Minneapolis to go to First Avenue for Dudley D's dance party. First Avenue was killing it. They had Dudley D was just had an amazing show. It was just packed full of people. All Prince the whole entire time. It was just a jam session. It was a massive jam session of really good mixes, really good song selections, kind of getting deep into the catalog, and then, but still maintaining that, those, the Irresistible Bitch and the DMSR and the stuff, and just kind of weaving that stuff in to just kind of keep people going and keep people moving. So we did a really, really good job. It was a great show. I did live from there also. So if I don't show you anything, it's because of the fact that I probably went live from there at some point. And then after I left First Avenue, probably about probably closer to midnight, I left from there and went over to Rodney Fitzgerald's party at the Nicolette Diner with the Prince 365 group with DJ Lenka Paris. And DJ Lenka was in there just killing it.
I love her. I love her. She's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It was a lot of dancing. It was a lot of dancing. And what's really cool about DJ Lenka is obviously she feeds off of energy. When I first got there wasn't a whole bunch of people there, and I thought that that Rodney's party was winding down. I was like, dang, I was late. But then I stayed there and had chicken and waffles, and at like 12:30 in the morning and 1 o'clock, it was just like, I shouldn't be doing this at all. And then everybody just started coming, and it just started filling up. And of course, you could see the transition from Lenka just kind of being chill to just kind of, you could see her feeling it. I was like, oh, here we go.
Getting that Lenka bounce. We're gonna.
God. The Lenka gets that bounce going, and it's like, all right, it's on like Donkey Kong. Here we go. Oh my God. So it was a lot of fun. DJ Lenka is always a monster, and but it's always cool to have her in those smaller venues. I think last year when you and I went to the celebration, I don't know if Rodney Fitzgerald's in here, but when we went to whatever that bar was, and it was just it was her in her element. It was cool to actually be able to stand there. If you ever get an opportunity, and I don't know when this opportunity will ever present itself for any of you, but to stand behind DJ Lenka Paris while she's mixing is like watching. There's certain people that have to be aliens. There's just no way. It's just not. It's just not normal shit. It's like it's like there's like all this crazy tweaking going on, and I know some DJs do that for look. They're just like, look, I'm doing stuff. Look at me, I'm doing stuff. Everything that Lenka's doing is just like with purpose, and it's just these mixes that she has are just like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't
smooth
make sense.
Too, man.
Oh my God, it's
motion,
just
everything.
It's ridiculous. So, anyways, so shout out to Rodney Fitzgerald and that group and DJ Lenka Paris and I just met even during that period of time, just in that day, which wasn't even part of the celebration. The 7th was not part of the celebration. I wish that it was, but it wasn't, because that's his birthday. So it seems like you should do something. Hold on a second, I'm gonna cough. But for whatever reason, they didn't do anything, and they just turned up. I mean, it literally was a turn up. So let's talk about the actual celebration. Did me muting work on the coughing thing? I don't know if did you hear me cough?
I didn't.
Awesome. Great. I didn't want to make sure. Again.
I was ignoring you though.
Mark Bondi asked, did I get a picture in front of the star? I did, but I didn't upload it here. I have a bunch of pictures on my phone that I did not upload. I'm trying to kind of make this, trying to do the balance between a visual and, not visual, since we have a lot of people that are listening on the Funked Up app right now. So they're driving in the car and they're listening. So I'm trying to, just trying to find a perfect balance. So let's move into a visual component that you're going to have to see. So we're moving. So now we're moving into Thursday. So now we're going to talk about the actual celebration. And again, I can't reiterate this enough as far as all the work and all the planning. And I know that there's a bunch of things that, there were some things that fell through. There was some things that I don't know what the whole process is with, whenever you plan an event, and I've done, you have planned lots of music events where you have multiple bands. I've done it myself. Before I did Funkatopia, I used to run in the 90s. I used to run a music website called slabmusic.com, which stood for Southern Local Area Bands. And it was supported bands in Georgia and all the states that touch it. So it was Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and because I didn't want to go nationwide, and for whatever reason, I I was manually putting in tables. So if a new band joined, I manually put their stuff in there. So there was no automated process that was going on. And the reason for that was more just kind of like quality control, but that ended up backfiring. Because you get like 20 bands that join in a day and you're like, son of a, this is gonna take it. We're gonna be here forever. But anyways, I used to do these music festivals called Slab Fest, and we did them at the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Atlanta. I did a bunch of different ones. And those types of events, putting them together and having things fall through and just having things just not work out, it's not even at the scale that the Prince Legacy group, which, obviously consists of Londell McMillan and Charles Spicer and John Nelson Jr. and all those folks. It's a lot. It's just a lot to put all that stuff together, and they're an amazing team. It's just a lot. So I know there were some hiccups. We'll touch on them a little bit because, one of the things I don't want to do, the goal here is to talk about the celebration as we were about to talk about the celebration. And I want to keep this positive because I know there's been a lot of negativity. Those guys have been attacked. They're been attacked like crazy, like the whole time. And, I'm sorry, I'm kind of got cold like symptoms. Anyways,
I thought you were getting emotional.
No, I wasn't getting emotional.
I was like, really?
I was like, how do I wipe my nose on camera?
Those guys are getting attacked.
Like, I'm gonna play it out so I can wipe my nose on camera.
They're grown, right?
They're grown folk. They're grown. No, anyways, they've been attacked like a lot. And you can always tell because even when I would say something positive on Twitter, like Charles would jump on me about something, or Londa would not jump on me, would react a certain way because they're so used to being in this defense mode because they are being attacked all the time. It's like, everybody just chill, just relax. It's not only having to do the day-to-day stuff and do all the releasing of the music and just try to pull everything together and try to get everything that everybody wants and that everybody's requesting, but then to throw this event on top of it to try to, make sure that everything goes smooth and make sure that everything happens the way that it's supposed to happen. Along with that, it's just a lot, and just it's a lot. So props to that team for what was a pretty successful celebration, in my opinion. There was some feedback. We'll talk about the feedback at the end, but I want to keep it positive. So let's just start there. So let me share a photo. As we were pulling up, they had they actually had shuttle buses that were leaving from the hotels at the W and also at the Hilton Bloomington. And one of the things I took as I was sitting on the bus on the shuttle, I had to look out the window and snap this photo right here. And this was a photo that I snapped because it was just Paisley Park. I was like, oh, cool. We're pulling up to Paisley Park. And what was really, really crazy about it is that I got a private Facebook message from Funkatopian Donna McCormick. And she's like, oh my gosh, there's a face in the clouds. I'm like, there's a what? And so I was like, where is there a face? And so I highlighted it. And I was like, oh my gosh, there is a face in the crowd with an afro and everything. And if you guys can't see it, I will zoom in even a little bit more. So you can actually see like the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and then everything obviously it was like he was watching people come through the gate to his home. It's crazy. And I was like, wow, that is really, really cool. That was just a random shot that I took out of the shuttle window, which, that was just crazy. And I just, yeah. And of course, everybody's like, you see what you want to see. I was like, yeah, but that's like really creepy because that looks like the Third Eye Girl photo that he took for what's the album cover for that? That looks almost just like that, where he kind of has his head down like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I was like, oh, that's really awesome.
That's going to go
awesome.
viral.
Yeah, you would hope. I put it on Facebook and it was really, really cool to kind of see that. But anyways, So one of the things was really, really cool is that one of the things they did differently is that they put the tour bus out in the parking lot of Paisley Park. So the tour bus was out there. I like the fact they had the tour bus out there. We didn't get an opportunity to be able to go inside of the tour bus. So of course, on the last day, which I've kind of got here in the beginning, but on the last day, I kind of walked over and I put my phone right on the front window to take a picture inside to kind of see if I could see inside of it, and with the flash on and everything, to go psh, and see if I could. And you could actually. Oh no! Where did it go? Oh my God! Where did it go? I had oh my gosh! Please tell me I didn't. I'll make sure that I put this up. But I actually took a picture inside the tour bus, and it looked really, really cool. And I don't know why it's not here. I'm kind of
been hacked.
I have not been hacked. It's just I think something just got out of order. They had to have gotten out of order. There's just no way. I'm waiting for that thing now. Anyways, I took my phone and I put it right on the windshield, and I took a picture inside of the tour bus just to kind of get a little bit of, just kind of a little bit of idea what's inside. What's really cool is they must have at one point in time have given the capability of oh yeah, it is out of order. Given the capability to be able to, this is the inside of the tour bus, but let me make this bigger here real quick. So this, you can actually see inside the tour bus here. It is, as you can tell, there's couches that are in there, but they put plexiglass over the couches so nobody can come in and have a seat. But this is kind of cool. You kind of get a little bit of an idea of what the inside of this tour bus looks like. And you can, this was maybe a little bit mischievous on my part to do that, to kind of put my phone on thing. But I was just like, if you're not going to let me tour the bus, at least let me look in. But it was really kind of cool to see everything that's in there. And I know I'm going to be doing it in the back of the bus tonight.
You were the big kid. You're like, stop touching stuff. You gotta watch you.
Like, get back. And then they broke my arm and said I'm no longer allowed to come back.
Control your kids.
Right. So anyways, that was really, really cool. And I don't know that. So let's take a look at the schedule. Okay. So we're out in the parking lot at this point, but I want to make sure that we actually have the actual schedule itself. We'll go back to what the schedule was, just so you can get a little bit of an idea of what the schedule look like. And this was one of the early schedules that was there. Thursday was primarily VIP. GA, General Admission, had the whole entire day off. I'm going to be telling you about what happened on the VIP experience as opposed to the GA experience. And that Thursday was pretty much all VIP, with the exception of the launch party on Thursday night. And then, of course, Friday, we had the whole layout where we had the exclusive Prince concert footage. We had Shaka Khan and the hip hop panels, and that all actually changed. The timing of this all changed too. The new artist showcase, the Shelby J concert, woot woot. Then the dance party with DJ D-Nice. And then Saturday was more Prince concert footage, Prince Fam and 7 panels, the Sounds of Blackness concert, the Stokely concert, the dance party with DJ Rashida. And then Sunday was the VIP gospel brunch. And then the GA people got to do their music, their experience. We'll just leave it there. So it was actually very, very cool to the amount of stuff they actually, were able to put in there. So let's continue talking about I think I missed some of this stuff up. So let's talk about Thursday. Thursday again was the VIP tour of Paisley Park. And if you've never been to Paisley Park, essentially the way that it's laid out, I didn't put any pictures in because when you go into this part of the museum, they make you lock up your phones. So obviously I could pull photos off of the internet, but I'm trying to get out of the habit of doing that because, people that actually take those photos have problems with you just using your photos. So I try to take my own photos, but it is what it is. Here's what I can tell you. When you come into Paisley Park, when you first walk in, you come into like a big atrium with a vaulted ceiling when you first come in. Then they have the front desk that will be over to the left. And then you kind of walk through. There's some stairs to the right. But as you walk through, what I really am disappointed in is that at one point in time, my daughter Jaden, who's 15 now, she actually started creating Paisley Park, the entire Paisley Park in Minecraft. Do you remember this?
I remember that. Yes.
She was making Paisley Park in Minecraft. Like she had the whole building laid out except for the inside. And I was kind of helping her with the inside. And there was some parts of Paisley Park I didn't know because I've never been up in those areas. So it was trying to find schematics and trying to figure out what's where. And there's obviously hidden areas and stuff that you don't know. But I need to pick this back up. I need to pick up her torch and finish that. But she created Paisley Park in Minecraft, which is very, very cool. I'll have to share it one day. Anyways, so you walk in and there's some stairs going up to the right, and then there's albums that are on the wall, and then you walk into the main atrium area, which is where they have the kitchen, and there's a bunch of different studios that kind of offshoot from the halls in that room, and they appropriated rooms for different types of things like the shoe exhibit and whatnot. But on the VIP museum tour, there wasn't any guide. And I don't think it was that way for general admission either, unless you like really requested somebody to, hey, can you walk me through? Because it was essentially a self-guided tour. It's like, just do whatever. Which is fine, I guess. But I think for new people, I think it's really, really important, even if VIP or not. I think it's important to have somebody there like Tommy or Jessica or somebody that's actually going to walk you through and say, this is what's happening. This is where he did this. This is where he did this. And every now and then they would sit you down like in the video editing room where they would show you like a little clip of me that you haven't seen. But it was really, really cool to have that process, even if you've already been through it. It didn't even matter. But we got to do the VIP, the self-guided thing. And then they brought us in to see a 45. Well, they had half of the VIP team go one way to listen to some unreleased tracks, which we're going to talk about in a second. And yes, I'm going to play you clips of those unreleased tracks here in just a minute. Give me a second. We're going to talk about that. And then the other half of the VIP went to basically to see a little video clip. And the video clip was a 45-minute viewing of the parade tour in Japan. So we got to see Prince doing parade in Japan, which obviously was just, it was pretty amazing. Some of the feedback they kind of got from that, even John Bream covered it in Star Tribune, was, I don't know what they were they were showing the footage in the NPG Music Club. If you guys have been in there, you know what I'm talking about. But they had like a sign of the times setup in the NPG Music Club. That hasn't changed over the past year. I mean, there's been some elements that have changed. But on the wall behind the stage, they hung like a white type of tarp or something. And they showed it on that. It's not a movie screen. It was like something that had like a shine to it or sheen to it. And even though it was dark in some places, there were some, depending on where you were sitting, if you were sitting in a wrong angle, it was like shiny and you couldn't even see the screen. Luckily, it wasn't that way for me. But unluckily for some folks that were in there, some people were having a very, very difficult time seeing. John Bream of all people being one of them. And so he obviously mentioned it in Star Tribune. It's like, okay, you probably want to put him front and center so there's no shine. Right. Anyways, but it was tough to watch in some spots. So I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning for that was, but they, it was what it was.
Yeah, someone didn't check all the angles.
I don't know what it was. It was just something different, something totally different. But then we broke for lunch, and the lunch menu was as follows, which I was actually surprised. They had blackened salmon, some collard greens, salad, shrimp cocktail, red beans and rice, and cake. Now, I like the fact that they had salmon. I like the fact that they actually had a meat option for a pescatarian or whatever. I like that they had a meat option. That was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. That was the only meal that was like that, with the exception for VIPs.
Cake.
But yeah, the cake was good too. It was kind of like half. I don't know. It was a little bit different. Red beans and rice was an interesting choice for people that are going to have to sit quietly in a room. So it was I'm
Open
just,
a
being,
window.
I'm just being real. I'm just being real with you. Red beans and rice is an
What a choice.
interesting option for a bunch of folk sitting quietly in a room, trying to sit quietly in a room
For hours.
and have to sit there for a long period of time and pretend like it's somebody else. It's like, who was that? But it was good. It was a good lunch considering it was a good lunch considering.
Mexican for all. Burritos, red beans and rice, Jamaican. You got to eat something.
What did I say?
Yes.
For some reason I said, oh yeah, okay, I did have, and this was actually, and we were actually in the tent for this first part of it. They set out this huge tent out in the parking lot, and this was the tent. And so it was really, really cool. They had a bunch of these huge purple balloons. It was good.
Nice.
It was a lot of stuff. A lot of people. There's a lot of folks. There's a lot of folks. Yeah, so it was really, really cool.
That's a nice.
Of course,
tent.
once we were done with lunch. Oh yeah, real nice tent. Coffee. All right, so after we got done with lunch, then we got to hear the unreleased tracks. A lot of people will say, and I would tend to agree, getting emotional again. A lot of people would say, and I would agree, this is probably one of the highlights of the event, because when they said they were going to be playing some unreleased music, our first thought was they're going to play a couple of clips or whatever, a few clips, and they're going to be like, because that's been the go.
History.
Yeah, history has proven that that's what they do. They'll bring you into a room and they'll play like a majority, maybe 2/3 of a track. I think the last time that I was there a couple of years ago when they did it, it was they played the Mono Neon track from Black is the New Black with Prince, but it was one that's what's the name of that song? I don't know. Down. And I was basically arguing with the person. I said that's kind of out there. Shoot, they was like, no, it's not. And I was like, yeah, it's out there. It's out there. So I think Mono Neon put it on his channel. No, he didn't. It's like, okay, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not here to cause problems. I'm just saying it's out there. But it was really cool because in this particular case, they literally played 11 tracks. 11 tracks. Wow. And what's even more shocking about the 11 tracks that they played is that I hadn't heard any of them. That is a shocker. Now, granted, they had it was a remix version of 7 that was in that mix, and also an acoustic version of Soft and Wet, no vocals, just Prince playing acoustic guitar, and that's it. Wow. So those two I actually knew. However, it was not. There were still things I had never heard before. So technically, even if you take those out of the mix, they played 9 tracks that I'd never heard before, like lyrically, instrumentally, nothing. So yeah, it was a shocker for sure. So this particular part of the event, and yes, I am going to play a couple of tracks, not because I did something naughty, but because of the fact that Charles Spicer and Londell gave out cassettes that we'll talk about here in a second, USB cassettes. I'll show it to you. And they actually had 2 of these songs on them. So I'm going to play a little bit of a clip. We'll talk about that in a minute too.
Sweet.
But this section was hosted by Charles Spicer Jr. And the person sitting behind the laptop that was actually playing these tracks was Tom Garneau. Okay. So for those who don't know who Tom Garneau is, he was a recording engineer on many Prince albums, including In Whole or Part with Crystal Ball, Come, Graffiti Bridge, Diamonds and Pearls, Symbol album, Gold Experience, just a bunch of others. I mean, it was just, it was a lot to take in just from that. It was like, okay, we got Charles here that's hosting this thing, and Tom Garneau is sitting behind the laptop, and that was enough as it was.
Wow.
But he was very, very clear. One of the things he talked about as far as these tracks were concerned was he was saying that the biggest thing that he said was 2023 is going to be a big year, is what he said. Straight out, those were his exact words. 2023 is going to be a big, big year. Now, a lot of people, when I kind of recanted that on Twitter, were attacking me and saying, it's already June.
Right.
And people aren't, it's a half of the year is already gone. And what's he talking about? It's like, we haven't had, it was like, okay, but the year isn't over yet. He said 2023 is going to be a big year. It's still 2023. It could be November. And he could be about to drop stuff, but in December, you guys just got just relax. Just take a step back. Just, oh my God. Just take
calm your horses, man.
Oh my God. Just pull it back. Pull the reins, man. It's like everything that was said, even if I recapped something, people were just like, just attacking me and going, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll believe when I see it." It's like, I think I'm about to drop off of Twitter for real.
It's time to start ignoring them. That's what it is.
It's just too much.
Yeah, it's time.
Just too much. Just leave it alone. Let them do what they do. This is what they do for a living. Not just with Prince. They've done it with many artists before. Just let them do what they're going to do. And on top of that, they got drama to go with it. Just leave it alone. Just let them do. If it gets to 2024 and they haven't released it, then y'all can start talking. Okay. But for right now, that's what he said. 2023 is going to be a big year. Take him for his word. Believe it or not. If you don't believe it, all right. Well,
that's what he said.
Practice the law of attraction.
Claim
it. Claim it. Claim the unreleased music. Claim it.
Receive it.
Receive it. Visualize it in your head and make it happen. Anyway, so here are the songs that they played. Now, when we were first walking in, they were playing a track called The Rain and You. That was a track from 1981. And this actually precedes the Prince Piano and Microphone 1983. So it's even earlier than that. And it was just kind of Prince playing piano, just kind of tinkering around on piano. And he was just kind of doing some vocal stuff, vocal chops, not that. Yeah, but the thing about it is that there wasn't any words. It was just kind of Prince just kind of, trying to find a melody along with what he was playing. And Charles said the song was called The Rain and You. Charles said the track was 18 minutes long. When I looked it up on Prince Vault said that track is 22 minutes long. Either way, 18 or 22, you got a contender for junk music here. It's long. And like they were playing it the whole time everybody was walking in, and when he was talking in general, it was playing lightly in the background. And it was just going for a long time. So there are some components of that song, The Rain and You, that were actually extracted and used on the song Strange Relationship. So and I think it was pretty much the runs, like there was some pieces in there that kind of landed on Strange Relationship, but the song was called The Rain and You. And I don't know if they'll release that because it's really not finished. It's just kind of Prince just kind of tinkering around. But it's there.
Cool.
The next track was a song called Everything Could Be So Fine. It was very upbeat pop rock. It was done in July of 1987. It was supposed to be a song that was going to be used on Graffiti Bridge. Prince eventually pulled it, gave it to Eric Leeds to be on the third Madhouse album, which would have been 24. All right. 8, 16, 24. Yeah. And then I guess he was considering possibly using it on Times Squared. And it didn't. It just kind of got shuffled to the side. But it's just a really, really upbeat track. It's just got this kind of very similar to Everybody Want What They Don't Got. Everybody want what it's kind of had that kind of pop feel, bounce to it.
Okay.
But it's called Everything Can Be So Fine. And that was a really cool one. Now I'm going to tell you about the next song on here, and I actually have a clip. So we're going to listen to it together. The next song, and if you guys want to hear these songs in their entirety, all right, we'll talk about this in a second, because I'm not exactly sure how to go about this safely without getting my phone blown up while I'm on here. The song was called 7 in E flat, and it is the song 7 in E flat. So it was recorded. It's pretty much nonsensical title for this particular thing, but it's the arrangement's a lot different. Not a lot different, but it's pretty different. It was recorded in October of 1992. And it is this is one of those tracks that kind of I know I kind of got a note on here, but it's not for this song. Essentially, for VIPs, and I don't think the GA got a part of this, but I'm going to make myself larger here just for a second.
Yeah.
But for VIPs, they gave us this cassette here. And I was like, oh, snap, cassette. This is pretty cool. And so I opened it up and I was like, all right, I'm going to have to get out my cassette player. But if you look on the bottom, it is actually a USB.
That's cool.
Cassette.
That's cool.
So essentially you pull it out and you just attach this to your computer and then you can just transfer it.
Yeah,
I see some people mentioning here in the chat room. Yeah, it's already on YouTube. Yeah, I see some people that have already put it out on YouTube. Did the Prince channel put it out on YouTube? Could somebody confirm that? One of my chat room folks. Can you double check and see if the Prince channel has put those two songs out on YouTube? I've seen it. I've seen these two songs, which is 7 and E flat and All A Share Together Now. Those are the two tracks that were on this cassette tape.
Okay.
One of the pieces of feedback that we did get was that the tracks that were on here were MP3s, not FLACs, not a really high res or high quality audio, and that it was 128K.
Okay. Still.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, hey, it's new music from Prince that you don't have.
Right.
And here you go.
And most people, their speakers, they don't even have quality enough speakers.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but like the Funked Up app is 128, and if you just turn it up and you listen to it and you really really jam, it is what it is. Now here's the thing. I did put a clip up here, but when I came in on Saturday night, Charles Spicer came up to me and said, "Did you get your gift?" And I was like, I hadn't yet. I just walked in the door, and he was just like, "You need to get it." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go get it," because they gave us these cards that were in the credentials envelope that you got, and you turned it in, and then you swapped it out for this. And I said, and I went and got it, and I was like, "Oh, this is really, really cool." He's like, "You need to tell people when they keep saying stuff that the stuff is coming. It's coming." I was like, "Well, this is a really, really good start. You got two brand new songs." Yeah. Corey says there are hidden tracks on the USB. I don't know. Anyways. So I asked him, I said, Tuesday night, can I play these tracks, or can I at least play a snippet of it? And he said to me, I'm paraphrasing a little bit. He said, "Yeah, I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do." And I was like, I don't know what that means. Is that yes?
What does that mean?
Is that yes? Is that no? Is that I don't know which that is. Am I? So I was just like, kind of stepping back. It's like, all right, so I'm gonna play a clip.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, you asked. That's a weird answer.
He was
for
like,
a direct question.
I mean, it was fine. I mean, he was essentially saying, yeah, it's fine. And then he followed up with, we're going to be releasing it tomorrow anyways.
Oh, okay.
And tomorrow would have been Sunday. And apparently that's changed. But when of course, that caused problems for me, because when I got on Twitter, I took a picture of this and I said, "Hey, if you're at the celebration, you got these two new tracks, and they should be available for you too tomorrow." And everybody's like, "Believe it when I see it." And I was like, "Well, I'm just telling you what was said." And then tomorrow came and they were not there. And Monday came and they weren't there. And now here it is Tuesday and they're not here. Now people have put it out there on YouTube. So if you want to look for 7 and E flat and also All A Share Together Now, they're out there. People that have attended Celebration went ahead and took it upon themselves to put it out there. I'm not doing that tonight. I'm simply going to play you a clip. I'm going to play you a clip. It's not on Spot. Right. Correct. It's not on YouTube. It's not. Oh, I don't know if it's on YouTube. Thanks, Francis. Francis said it's not there. Anyways, let's see what it says. Okay. According to Man Ray 10, I'm sorry. The PR firm that is working with Prince Estate Shoreline Media released a press release about the celebration. In that press release is the official release date for the two USB tracks, July 7th. That's a far cry away from where we are right now. Anyway, so yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to be on Karen says it's on private channels on YouTube. No, it's actually not. It's out there. You can just search for Prince 7 and E flat or Prince all a share together now, and both those tracks are out there. But here's what we're gonna do. We're talking about 7 and E flat. Let's listen together to about a minute of it, just together, just to kind of relax, just kind of chill. Ocean's apparently in some other time zone. Okay, here we go. Ocean says July 7th is like 9 months. Jeez. It's June. July comes up next. I love you, Heidi. I'm sorry, Ocean. Okay, here we go. Here is a minute of 7 and E flat. Check it out.
On the sand of the sea, before the animosity was stacked at the creek. Not love, only blasphemy. In the distance, 6 others will curse me. That's alright, but I will watch them fall. Standing where love me will float them all. Then you left me and the sidewalk there. No one to hold you in the left there. I am yours now and you are mine, and together we love to all the things and time to cry. They all said it will die. We see a plague and a river of blood.
All right, so that is like that's a minute of that. Now it kind of sounds a little bit kind of muddy and tinny. Unfortunately, the USB kind of sounds a little bit like that too. Mm-hmm. And I think that was maybe just the mix of it. I don't know. We'll see what happens on July 7th when it gets officially released. But I kind of feel like, man, now I got to go and like delete Twitter or whatever. But there is no listing as to who the players are on that track. None at all. But that all being said, again, I was told it was going to be released. We're going to put it out tomorrow anyways. That's what was said. And we'll see. Well, that's just I'm like watching my phone for it to light up. It's like no matter what I say, it's like kind of anyways. Let's talk about the next song. We're talking about a few more songs, then we'll play another clip for All Is Shared Together now, which was we'll talk about that in a second. The next song was a song called The Rock That Keeps Rolling, that was written in September of 1988. If you think about Let It Go, if you think about the vibe of that one, maybe slow it down a hair and make the bass dump a little bit thicker, and make it more kind of lumbering, like it's kind of like maybe a little bit of a drag, but it's not. Instead of resting between the European and Lovesexy tour, Prince kind of just went back into the studio and just started writing again, which is not a surprise. But this was one of the tracks, but it's this really kind of slow rolling groove track, and I can hear it in my head, but I'm not even going to try it. But it is what it is. That was a really, really cool track. The next track that they played was a song called All the King's Horses, even though Charles mentioned that the tape box said All the King's Men. That was recorded in September of 2002. And for those that don't know, and I thought, isn't that an Aretha song? Because it kind of sounded a little bit like that. And then somebody else asked that question. And I said, I wonder if this is it. And I did look it up. And sure enough, it is a cover of Aretha Franklin's song, All the King's Horses, from her album called Young, Gifted, and Black. Obviously, that title is from the Nina Simone song that's To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. But anyways, from Aretha Franklin's album, this is a cover of that song. And a lot of people love this track when it played. Everybody's like, "Oh man, those lyrics are so amazing." It's like, yeah, well, you know, it is. It was a great song before Prince got a hold of it. And you know what I was thinking, and I thought, the state's always trying to figure out, what do we do? How do we do these super deluxe box sets where we kind of throw a bunch of stuff on that from the original album, we remaster them, and then put like a bunch of unreleased tracks on them. I thought it would be a great idea to take some songs that Prince had done as covers from other people. I know that it may seem like a stretch, but you think about, he covered A Whole Lot of Love. He covered, he did Creep at Coachella. Maybe this song here, this is an unreleased track that nobody's heard, an Aretha cover. He's done Mother's Finest. He's done Santana. He's covered so many different artists.
Yeah, and I think at some point you and I talked about doing a show like that. I could have sworn we had that conversation about covers.
Well, first off, we got to get permission to be able to kind of play little clips and stuff like that. But because they're out there right now, but they're not officially released. So how we would get them would be, not nefarious, but they're out there.
Work.
It's not work. It's not work.
Well,
just kind of just open up a folder. But can we play it?
Work.
Yes, it's just not work. It's just pulling it together. But anyway, but it would be good to actually have the original source from the board recordings of some of these covers that they've done, not these crappy bootlegs that are out there, and just put together an album of Prince doing covers of like all these artists. They did a little bit on the It Ain't Over, on the what was the one, the 21 Nights book. On the CD, they did some covers of stuff in there. It's just so much stuff that they could put out there. He did that cover with Amy Winehouse. There are so many great covers that are out there that I think would make a really, really good album. And now here's the other thing too. I know I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole, but sometimes you guys love when I do this. Is that, one of the things that they were talking about, and they were talking about this on the fan panel, is trying to figure out new ways to reach a different generation, to reach the younger audiences and try to figure out ways to kind of connect with them. I'm sorry. I think this is the way that you do it. I think you get out there and you release an album of Prince covering a lot of, Prince covering Radiohead is like that. That alone broke the internet. There is a studio board recording of this. You can tap into Radiohead fans that would actually buy this album just to hear Prince cover this. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, an actually official recorded audio of that. So you got Beatles fans in there, you got Radiohead fans in there, you got Aretha fans in there, you got like a whole wide variety of people that love other artists that may kind of maybe be a little bit into Prince. And to be able to just reach out and grab them and put them into a collection like this and just kind of get them into the mix and send them down those paths of his discography, it just seems like a win to me.
I agree.
I just think that, anyways, this was a cover of Aretha's All the King's Horses and All the King's Men. It was great. And I'm sorry, I just think it's a great idea to kind of get people in there. And I'm sure that he's covered a lot of stuff in some of these after parties and things that are even more current. Again, like the Amy Winehouse things. It's all out there. It's just, get them and put them on the friggin' one disc like the originals, but kind of reverse. He's covering other people.
Right.
And I know that there's licensing and you might have to pay whatever, but what's the cost of that if you're going to be able to get a whole insane audience that you didn't have to before?
And they need to give me credit for this. Prince Under the Covers. What? There's the name. That's the album name.
Under
Prince,
the
Covers.
Okay, there you go.
Done.
All right. Well, we're trying to figure out ways to reach people and continue Prince's legacy. I think that's one of the ways that you do it for sure. All right. So the next track that they gave us was, I don't really have a whole bunch of information on it. It was like a really kind of Beatlesque tune called I Believe I Love You. That was recorded in July 27th, 1987. The next song was another one called Don't Play With Love, which was a duet with his dad, John L. Nelson. And funny enough, when last time Sharon Nelson was on the show, she was on the show to promote her dad's album, Don't Play With Love. Same exact song title. So I went back and I got the CD out and I went to listen to it. And I was like, does this song that they played have any similarities to what this title track is on John's album? And yes and no. I think this was kind of like in the creation process. And I think John was just so the track that they played at this unreleased thing was John on piano and Prince just kind of singing along. The Don't Play With Love that's on John's solo album is nothing. There is no vocals. It's just piano, a lot more spaced out, because there was a lot of string arrangements. There was a lot of things going on. I want to say that was Brent Fisher or Dave and them, Kathy and Dave involved. I don't remember who was all involved in all the string arrangements and stuff and some of the horn stuff, but there was a string arrangement. I'm sure that Brent Fisher had something to do with it. Claire Fisher's son, but it kind of laid itself on the string arrangements more than it was relying on the piano kind of carrying everything. And so on the version that they played and the Sun release tracks, it's John playing piano and he's just kind of, doing his thing. He's just kind of filling it up and making sure that you can kind of hear everything percussively so that Prince has something to follow along with. But yeah, it's a totally different version that's on John's album, but you can still kind of hear the pieces of it. And then behind it, it actually had like a conga type of drum machine pad that doop, 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 it was in the background. But again, John's version on his solo album does not have any vocals on it. It's just very, very heavy string sections. The next track was called Della Blackheart. It was a hard rock track that was recorded on April 4th, 2006. Now, even though Third Eye Girl was, almost 7 years away from when this was recorded, you could obviously tell that Prince was getting into a mode where he was wanting to do something a lot harder, that he was just trying to really kind of find something that kind of pounded a lot harder. No vocals on this song, Della Blackheart. It kind of almost felt a little unfinished, like it was like a jam session that they kind of found a melody line and they just kind of were just playing it out and kind of getting the feel for it and kind of working the intricacies in as the song went along. But apparently there is I guess at one point in time, there was some type of scenario where it was going to be on Lotus Flower. And I could probably see that falling somewhere along Dreamer.
Okay.
Dreamer is a harder rock song. So I could definitely see Della Blackheart kind of feeding into this or as an outro or one of the two. But yeah, it was a really, really cool song. I'm sure we'll see a lot of that. But what they played us this kind of felt a little unfinished. And I don't know if there's a more completed version or not. Then the next song was probably one of my favorites. And it was a song called You're Such a Tease. And out of all the tracks that they played, this one felt the most completed and it had the different chord structures. It was definitely, without a doubt, my favorite track of the bunch, even though I only heard it there. I didn't hear it anywhere else, even though I only heard it there. That melody line is still stuck in my head. It was You're such a tease. Da, 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 da. It was like doing all this changing with the chord structures, being very, very jazzy, kind of along the lines of like Ballad of Dorothy Parker, where they kind of do these, chord shifts. I would say that song is probably the closest to I could see being released on something and going, oh yeah, this would be a hit if they could get it out. I mean, not on the radio nowadays. I mean, but it would be a hit. I think it would be one of these underground things for sure.
Hey, we got something. I'm going to show you this real quick. Charles Spicer is in the room, and he mentioned, yeah, he had a comment for you. He said, "I'm watching a delay just to confirm when I said you can play it. You do what you do. It'll probably be put up by someone by tomorrow, not we're releasing it." So,
okay, there you go.
Easy miscommunication there. It's a lot going on. So yeah, it's good that he jumped in and say that. That's cool.
No, thank you, Mr. Spice. At least he got some clarification. And as we kind of saw via the press release that we just saw, that the actual official release is going to be July 7th.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. So Charles, if you're still in here, we got a little bit of a delay. I don't know how long we'll get to this answer, but how is this going? How are those two USB things going to, are those two songs going to be released? Are you just going to drop them on Spotify, drop them on YouTube? How is it going to be? Is it going to be more mixes with it and whatever? Just kind of let us know what exactly that's going to be. Now I'm going to share another clip. Yeah. And so he was right. He said people are going to put it up tomorrow anyways. Yes,
They did.
They did. Was not I, Mr. Spicer. It was not me.
That's right. It was.
I'm playing a clip for them to hear. I'm just playing a clip. You gave me the nod, so I'm just playing a clip. I'm not taking it upon myself to play the whole entire track. But we're going to play a little clip of the next track that was actually on this USB cassette thingamathinger, called All Shared Together Now, which was recorded September 2006. There was some conflict. I guess I don't know if it was on Prince Vault or on the tape itself, but there's one of them that says September 4th, and there's something else that says September 9th. And there was one guy that was on Twitter that was losing his mind. Which one is it? Is it September 4th or September 9th? And it was like, what does it matter?
Can it be both?
Like, I mean, certainly he records something and then is like some days later, and then, certainly there's that. I don't know. I don't even know.
Calm down, son. Calm down.
Take it easy, fella.
Take it easy.
So we're gonna play a clip for this one. Now, this is a clip that they snuck out during the pre-advertisements that had the Symbol album snippets. That I can't do that voice, that screamy voice, whatever.
Not today.
I'm not even gonna try it. I'm like, my throat's killing me anyways.
Red beans and rice first.
Right. So they had anyways, never mind. So that all being said, what's basically happening here is they first released it as a snippet talking about the celebration, and there wasn't any vocals. And then they decided to be a little bit slick, which is kind of cool, but they did a little bit slick and they put the same exact thing. And I think most people, they heard the first 15 seconds and they were like, oh, this is the same clip they played from before or whatever. And they just didn't listen to the whole thing. And then all of a sudden there were vocals. And it was like, oh, okay, now there's vocals. Man, but being the ridiculous people that we are, we heard it. We saw it, we heard it, and we played it. We said, this is what's happening right here. And what's really, really cool is that we're spending a lot of time in this unreleased section, aren't we?
Yeah.
A lot of time, but this is kind of the primary thing. Everything else we'll kind of go through in a much quicker process. But anyways, let's play a little snippet of All Is Shared Together Now so that you guys can check it out. Let's check it out. Here it is. Here is the 1 minute clip of All Is Shared Together Now. And you can, just like Mr. Spicy just told you can go on YouTube and you can hear the whole entire song. But
that's right.
We're not taking that heat. Here you go.
Like father teaches, like son do. With each generation, the past improved. Wealthy, wise, and stronger still. No generation taking more than they feel. Like in our reaches, the baton passes on. The scriptures teach us, no matter how long, the debt of the ones before us must be paid. All are shared together now. Dig me now, dig me later, dig me now, dig me later. Surplus, deficit, Johnny, let's work together now, the betterment. All our brothers, our sisters, under one God, the true God. Let's share together now. All are shared together now. Come on.
I mean, stop. Stop. Oh, thank you, Mr. Spicer, for clarifying that. The concern about the 128 kilobyte MP3 quality was intentional because then it would be bootlegged.
Makes sense.
Right. That is absolutely smart completely. I get it. It's and let me just go ahead and thank you right now for giving this to us anyways. So it doesn't even matter because I'm looking forward to the release on July 7th. That obviously will be a lot more thicker quality and everything. That's just going to be. Wow. Anyways, yeah, that song is friggin' fire.
Yeah, it really is.
But let me, Mr. Spicy, let me please beg of you, if there's any way that somehow we could sneak out "You're Such a Tease," that song. Oh my god, I heard that in the room, and that melody line for that song, "You're Such a Tease," is still stuck in my head. It's still stuck in my head, and that's crazy to have to hear a song one time, and then days later, it's like an earworm. It's still there. That just says. No. Elena says, dumb question. Is it also a cassette? No, it's not. It's just a USB. There's no actual tape that's going through.
And you know what? This one all shared together now that I could hear that playing as one of our intros too, man. I hear that.
Oh yeah. But I don't want, props to Michael Gabriel, Sheila E's guitarist, for giving us that really, really great song to use for our intro, "Radioactive Girl" from his album Genesis, which is just fire. That is such a fire album.
It's so good.
The whole album is just fantastic. And we're trying to, not only go a rabbit hole, but Michael Gabriel's album Genesis and that song "Radioactive Girl," the whole entire album is insane. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I was like, can we use that for our intro music? And he was like, yes, please. I was like, okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And so we had. So that's where that music is. If you see our intro, we have an intro. The artwork is done by Tora Borealis, who did the Celebration graphics. And then the music behind it is Michael Gabriel's "Radioactive Girl." Mm-hmm. So, all right. So, and then, of course, the last song they played in the unreleased tracks was "Soft and Wet Acoustic," which is just Prince and guitar. There was no vocals, even though John Bream's article in Star Tribune said it was Prince singing. No, he wasn't singing at all. Matter of fact, Mr. Spicer brought up 3 people onto the stage that claimed they knew the lyrics to "Soft and Wet." And, we all sing along with the song when it's playing on the radio, but it's a whole different ball game when there's no guide vocal track going behind you to kind of lean on when you're singing. And it was just, so a lot of people, it was good. It was fun because he played the song exactly like the layout of the actual hit track. But you kind of, that TV show, Remember the Lyrics, I could never be on that show because you think you got it, and then it's like, all right,
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. All right, and then of course we close out Thursday. We're still on Thursday. Okay. It's a celebration launch party at the W Hotel, which was a jam. DJ Lenka Paris in the house. They had the dance party there, which was very, very cool. Also, what's really awesome is that they actually had a for the VIP people at 9:00. They actually took us upstairs at the W to have an exclusive interview with Andy Beach, who was the person who made a lot of guitars for Prince. I mean, a lot of the cloud guitars, the cymbal guitar. He made a lot of guitars for Prince. And he actually was commissioned from Paisley Park to actually recreate the one that he used at the Super Bowl. I guess that they're going to be putting that on display or whatever. I don't know what happened to the original. Actually, there was somebody in the audience that said, I know where it's at. And they said where it's at. And I don't remember. I didn't take notes. I was too busy taking this photo here. But anyways, this is going to be in Paisley Park. I guess it's going to be on display somewhere. But yes, Andy Beach was in there, which was really, really cool. And so there you have that. Kind of wrapped up Thursday night. Again, I could do a little bit more on the celebration dance party launch, but
it's a dance party.
All right, so now we're going to run kind of through this a little bit quicker, but I wanted to spend a lot more time, an inordinate amount of time, on the unreleased tracks because I think that Charles Spicer and Mr. Garneau did a fantastic job kind of curating stuff and saying, okay, you guys want new music? Here's our STFU moment.
Take it.
Here, you want it? Open your mouth.
And like it.
And I was pleasantly surprised. And I think everybody that was in there was pleasantly surprised because it was just like so much music. It was just like everybody that walked in there was expecting to hear. Everybody that was in there was expecting to hear like, I don't know, like maybe a couple of tracks, like little clips. And it did not end up that way at all. Also, Ocean makes a point. I did not get this done, but Ocean said there was tattoos in room 202 for $70. If you went up to room 202 at the W, a tattoo artist that was up there was giving out, was doing symbol tattoos for $70. Just regular black one. Gracie, who I was hanging out with at the celebration, she got one. She was like, look, I got it. It was like, when? Like right now you got it? She's like, yeah, just up there. And it was like, okay.
Wow.
That's, hey, that's why they got alcohol here.
I get a tattoo.
Nothing goes together like peanut butter and jelly than tattoos and alcohol.
Hey, in room 203, there was an impersonator marrying people. So yeah.
All right. So let's start Friday, shall we? Let's talk about Friday. Friday was this is going so haywire. I can't believe Charles Spicer and John Nelson Jr. are witness to this. I'm sorry. Anyways, Friday, we started the morning with video footage of the London show from 1993. The first, they broke it up in two parts. They played half of the concert on Friday and the other half on Saturday. Man, I'm telling you, I was doing everything I possibly could to try to find a picture of Morris Hayes from this show. And I was like, I could not find it. And I like text Morris. And I said, please tell me you have a photo of that show. Cause he had this, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but he had a Shemp haircut. It was like this bowl cut. I was like this. And I was like, oh my God, I got to find this photo. I couldn't find it anywhere. But anyways, it was video footage of the London show in 1993. They played the first half. And then they kind of moved on to the music, which is fantastic. They had two local acts. One was called Nerdy, NUR-D. And I did actually download some photos that I was going to put on this thing, but I forgot to put them in. Please go to facebook.com/Prince. And they have actually, or maybe on the Paisley Park one, but they have actually put up pictures of Nerdy and also this family band called None Above. That was just fire. Both of them were unbelievably fantastic. Sometimes you get these local acts and you're like, okay, golf clap. But these guys were like, holy cow. Everybody that they brought in as an unsigned artist was just fire. There was like, I don't know who was in charge of doing the process of selecting the artist, but it was so on point, and everybody was just delightfully surprised. It was fantastic. So check out these bands if you get an opportunity. Nerdy, which is nerdy, but it's NUR-D, which was just it was a gentleman who was singing, who was fantastic, got a great voice, kind of did a little bit of singing, a little bit of hip hop, and he had his DJ/producer that was on the laptop. And then None Above, which was a full band. It was two sisters and three brothers, or maybe it was vice versa. That
wow,
I mean, two brothers and two sisters, and they were young. I mean, I don't think any of them were over 25, and they were amazing. And the guitarist was unbelievable. He actually came up and sang "She's Always in My Hair," and it was just, I mean, they just kind of blew up the place. So shout out and props to whoever put those bands in the mix, because it was great. Then came Shelby J.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I don't have to tell y'all, and I think Shelby may still be here. I don't know. So, she comes in quite a bit. But she was here. I don't know if she's still here or not. This is a busy woman. Shelby killed it. And for you guys, for you folks, while I was doing my best to enjoy the concert, I was also making sure that I documented the set list for you fine folks, so that you can kind of hear the flow of how she was doing. Now, here's one thing I can say about Shelby, is that Shelby was, she did, out of all the bands that performed, she really dedicated a large portion of her set to honoring Prince. So everything that was in there I mean, there was just only a handful of songs that were obviously not Prince, but it was killer. She opened up with Chelsea Rogers, and then she went to a non-Prince song, Got to Give the People What They Want.
Wow.
Then she went back to the Prince songs. She went to Money Don't Matter, and then she did a song from her album 10, another song called Who You Are. And then she did a couple more Prince songs. She did I Feel For You, like I guess it was like, I would say the Shaka Khan version, but it really wasn't that. It was just like the regular version. But I guess when any female vocalist sings that song, you immediately think, oh, it's the Shaka Khan version. Well, it's the same flow.
Right.
And then she did Sometimes It Snows in April, and everybody had to break out tissues, and it was just like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
And then she did Run, which is another the track of hers. And then she really surprised me breaking out Doobie Brothers. She did Long Train Running. And now normally when I do karaoke, that's like one of my go-to songs is Long Train Running. That down and down the corner, a half a mile from here. I mean, it was just like she killed it. And then she ended the night with Musicology. Yeah. So there you go. So that was, so it was a heck of a set list for sure. It was a fire set list. And sorry, I was fighting a little bit of some cold symptoms. So if you hear me, sniffing or coughing a little bit, that's what's going on. And we are still on Friday, just so we're clear, which is just doesn't even make any sense. We're still on Friday. This is all happening on Friday. And this all happened in the morning before lunchtime. That's the other thing too. So then come the afternoon, we went into the recording session. And the recording session, I was nervous about the recording session because Paisley Park started doing this thing where they brought people in that they would play a snippet of a song and you got to sing along with it. And I thought that that's what this was. And I was a little bit concerned because I was like, this is going to be a cluster because there's so many people here. I don't know how they're going to do this, and be able to push people through. I just don't know. That's not what it was. Thank God. It was essentially a recording session where they took an original recording session with Prince and that actually happened with him talking and giving direction and everything. And they recreated the recording session. So it was kind of like the Prince. It was kind of like the Prince live on the big screen, but in a recording session. So everybody sat in chairs, everybody had headphones on, and we got to hear Prince kind of giving directions to Tommy. And let me tell you who the band was. Morris Hayes on keys, Levi Caesar on guitar, Tony M on vocals, Tommy Barbarella on keyboards, who I might add looked fantastic. I don't know what he did, but man, he's got his hair all cut like corporate, and he just looks amazing. He had on a sleeveless shirt, and he had guns and everything. I don't know what he did over the past year, but dude was like he stepped out of a GQ magazine. I was like, God dang, dude. It's like, well, okay, all right, I see you, Tommy. I'm married, but damn.
So he's becoming easy on the eyes to you.
Tommy Barbarella was easy on the eyes, my friend. And then it was Brendan. Sorry, then it was Brendan Commodore on drums, who plays drums for Stokely and Mint Condition. Josh Dunham was on bass, and then Damon D on percussion, and then of course you had Prince on vocals in certain parts. It was Prince on vocals, and of course also doing the vocal direction and everything. And of course, when it got to the part where Tony was doing his rap over on the song, the song was "Love to the Nines." So they did "Love to the Nines," and they went through it. And of course, they kind of played along and said, we didn't do it good enough. Let's do it again. And they played it the second time, but the second time they did it with the audience claps on 2 and 4. And then of course, at the end, they kind of did, and it was just cool to hear it twice and you kind of hear the recording process, Of course, it's just a taste because, a song like that would, may take 10 hours to do and get it right. But, it was what it was. On the Q&A session, there was some really, really good stories, just really, really quickly for some cool takeaways. And I know you guys don't mind because, it's been a long time since we've been online because it's been a couple weeks. But there was some funny stories. The funniest story was, well, one of the funniest stories was Morris was saying that when they got together, they were on a tour, and I guess Madonna and her crew were actually there. But before they were performing, like Prince and NPG were in a prayer circle praying before the show. And I guess Madonna didn't know that what was going on. And her and her crew, while they were in the middle of prayer, Madonna and her crew just kind of broke through the prayer circle, like, excuse me, and just like broke up their prayer circle while they were in the middle of praying. They were all holding hands. It was like, what's going on here? And so I just thought, okay, so Madonna's not, she's just not connected with what's happening, or she's not paying attention. She's just like, excuse me, I'm Madonna. I'm going through.
I'm Madonna.
And I did ask Tony, one of the questions that I asked Tony for the Q&A, I said, what was one of the most frustrating songs for you to do? Because, I mean, obviously, you know, coming into this whole thing and being the first rapper, technically, I mean, you know, not taking Cat or anything away from Cat, but in this realm in the 90s when it was at its height, you know, what song are you like is the most difficult to find a balance for, you know, your delivery? And he said that Willing and Able, that song was the most frustrating song for him to sing. And then the last story that was a good takeaway was Morris told the story about Prince cutting his hair. And I'm not sure if you guys remember this. I will refresh your memory again for those people listening on the Funked Up app that do not have visuals. I'm playing a clip of Prince cutting Morris's hair during the Get Wild video. So that was really Prince shaving Morris's head. And he just told the story about how that all went down, and that you know, Morris was planning on shaving his head anyways, and he had to go because of the fact that they're on tour. He had to go to, you know, Prince and say, is it okay if I cut my hair because it affects my look, or do you want me to stick with the Shemp haircut?
I'll cut it for you.
And Prince was like, somebody had said something to him saying, never let Prince cut your hair.
Right.
And when he asked him, he said, Prince goes, I'll cut your hair. And Morris is like, but people have told me you not to let you cut my hair. And Prince was like, what could go wrong? I'm just going to go up and just going to shave your head. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to shave your head. It's going to be fine. We're just going to just shave your head. And I guess Morris was like, I guess what can go wrong? I'm shaving it all off anyways. It's just, but apparently when he came over, he only shaved the one side. So he had this crazy mohawk half of the head thing going on, and just like, well, that could go wrong. I could now have to do the rest of the show looking like a crazy person. But anyways, it's, you know, it's funny. So that was, can you believe we're still on Friday? This is insane. All right. Cause we still had the hip hop panel and the Shaka Khan panel. All right, so that was the recording session, and then we moved on to the hip hop panel. First off, I want to give a huge shout out. I'm gonna make myself larger here. I've got to give a huge shout out to Chuck D. You know, brother, I've always been Chuck D, a Public Enemy. I've always been a huge fan of yours, and so I can't even say enough to thank you for this sketch that Chuck D did for me. Chuck awesome. D did this sketch for me of me, and he said, bring the noise, and he signed it, and he just drew me, and I think that's cool. Thank you, Chuck, so much for that. You are the man for sure. And I got to frame this. I got to professionally frame it. Obviously I can't. That's awesome. I can't just tack it on a wall. That would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, no.
Ridiculous to tack it on a wall. But thank you, Chuck D, for that. But they had a hip hop panel that was Chuck D of Public Enemy, Tony M of NPG, and Dougie Fresh was supposed to be there also. But the Diamond people did not get him because he was late. His flight was late coming in. That got resolved at the end. But anyways, that all being said, there was some really, really great stories with the hip hop panel. They were kind of talking about Prince and his involvement in hip hop and how, how that whole entire process went. But Chuck talked about the first time that he actually went to Paisley Park, and when he pulled up, Prince was having a garage sale on the Paisley Park lawn. Like he had like a bunch of musical gear just laying out on the lawn, and Chuck said he pulled up and he walked down to the lawn, and Prince was haggling with some woman about an amp, and just like $100, $50, and it was like he was selling his music equipment out on the lawn of Paisley Park. I think I can say without any reservation that there's not one person in this room right now that would not kill to go to the garage sale or a yard sale on the Paisley Park lawn with Prince selling his stuff. Like Prince actually there, he's saying, how much for this? It's just ridiculous. Chuck also told a story about when Prince gave him a gold symbol. It was like a big gold symbol. It was like one of the really, like a paperweight type of really heavy metal symbol. And he was like, oh, this is amazing. And he got to the airport. And when he got to the airport, they were like, what is this? And they took it away because it was seized by the TSA because they kind of felt like it was a weapon.
Right.
And they said, you can come back in a couple of days and get it. And for whatever reason, he didn't go back and get it. So somewhere, I think it's the Atlanta airport, somewhere at the Atlanta airport is the TSA is holding on to a metal gold logo. He said he was really, really disappointed about that. He was,
yeah.
And there were some really, really good quotables too from all of them, pretty much from Chuck. He says, whenever an attaché case does the talking, God walks out of the room. Talking about corporate people walking in and kind of, managing things and kind of moving things around and, kind of takes away from the artistic motion of it. He also called teenagers screenagers because they were around with their phones in their hands. He called them teenagers. He also said, everybody has art in them, but many can't get it out of them. And then the last quotable, he says, if the music isn't good, you have a security problem.
Wow.
Basically meaning that if you go in and your music is garbage and the people are going to smoke weed or the people are going to drink and it's just going to be problems that kind of go from there. He says, the music isn't good, you have a security problem. It's like, wow, that's intense.
Wow.
And they started to do a little bit of they're supposed to do like a 10-15 minute break, but then 5 minutes into the break, Dougie Fresh showed up and he came out and he freestyled for about 10 minutes. Apparently for the Pearl session, he was there for the whole thing. He was there for the talk and he also freestyled for like 15 minutes. So the Pearls apparently got a much better scenario than Diamond did in that regard. What was that? For the radio folks, I have no idea what that was. What was that? What was that? I know what the sound was. What was the reasoning behind the sound?
Evil Pearl people.
Oh.
What do you think? I was pushing one out?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on. It was disconnected for a second. I couldn't figure it out. All right. So then to finish off, not to finish off the night, but then they did the Shaka Khan panel. I cannot believe we're still on Friday. We're going to kind of go through Saturday's a little bit quicker, but there's a lot of stuff that happened on Friday. So for those folks that bought like single day tickets, for those that got Friday, that was a show for sure. First off, Shaka Khan came out, did her panel. She looked fantastic. She did. She looked great. She's, lost a lot of weight. She had these really tight faded jeans with these flared bell bottoms that had embroidered flowers all over the bell bottoms. It was killer. As you guys know, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for this year, 2023, and she turned 70 this year, which is just insane.
Amazing.
And I think that, Shaka Khan kind of rides this fine line with Prince fans because she tends to say things in interviews. She's very candid and she does not hold back on, her opinions about whatever. But she did a Vlad TV interview that kind of went way off, that really kind of did not set well with a lot of Prince fans. So I think a lot of people were kind of sitting on the edge of the chair, like ready to jump. It was like, she's in Prince's house. I don't think she's gonna say anything. But she did tell the story about how her and Prince met and how Prince kind of called her on the phone and pretended like he was Sly Stone and said, I'm in the studio down here, whatever location. I want you to come down. And she's like, all right, I'll come down. Let's check it out. Like, all right, thanks. I appreciate it. And she went down, and of course, it wasn't Sly. It was Prince pretending to be Sly. And she was pissed. She was so mad. For obvious reasons, because she just completely revamped her whole entire day to kind of be here at this thing. And it was Prince. And anyways, she said they did eventually, get along, and that they actually started bonding over conspiracy books and whatnot. And she also said, some of the things that annoy her, she says multiple times a week, people will come up and go, Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan.
I mean, when I Feel For You came out, it was...
Well, what's interesting about that song was that she said she had completed the song and it was done. It was over. And then she came back to hear the final product, and all that stuff, all that mixing and rapping and everything wasn't there when she got done with it. So when she came back in, all of a sudden all this rapping and everything's on it. And she was like,
right.
She wasn't a fan of it. And I guess whoever her manager was at the time, because it's fine, darling. It's fine, darling. It'd be good. It's going to be a big hit. And it was a big hit, but she just didn't, she wasn't a fan of it the way that it was mixed like that, but it worked out fine. I mean, it was her biggest hit by far. She also talked about the Come to My House album and the fact that that her and Prince worked on when she was with Paisley Park. And she kind of felt like it could have been bigger, but there was like all this legalities and all this stuff that was going on with some of the issues with Warner Brothers and the name change at the time. And she kind of felt like with Warner Brothers being so powerful that somehow they may have blacklisted that album. But on the same note, and I'm trying to think of this. I have a link there, but I thought I had a link there. Yeah, I do. Can anyone name any album on Paisley Park that kind of really did well on the charts? I'm not talking about after we kind of got out of the 80s, like with Sheila E. and all that stuff. I mean, some of that stuff, even Madhouse did relatively well, but there was a lot of songs. I mean, there was a lot of bands and a lot of albums that came out on Paisley Park label, and it just wasn't. I mean, none really broke out, and I don't know if it had anything to do with. It may have been Warner Brothers kind of putting the squash on a lot of that stuff. I don't know, but it just seemed like a lot of times you would find out about the album releases after they had already been out for a while. Unless you stayed really connected and really kind of had your ear to the ground. Anyways, she also said that there was a ton of music with her and Prince still sitting in that vault. So that's really cool too, to know there's a bunch of Prince and Chaka Khan stuff that's in that vault.
That's awesome.
I don't know what it is. We're going to find out though.
Someday.
And then
someday.
That's right. And then the night closed out with a DJ set from DJ D Nice. People kind of, D Nice kind of plays a little bit of everything, but he didn't play a whole bunch of Prince. I can probably think of maybe a half a dozen songs he played during the whole night that may have been Prince. Yeah, maybe at the end a little bit short, but he was playing everything. I mean, he was playing a lot of good dance cuts and stuff. I mean, there was still some great stuff, but and then Dougie Fresh came out and he emceed the whole thing. Like D Nice came out and played like a few tracks, and then Dougie Fresh came out and he was doing some freestyling and emceeing the whole entire night. How's everybody feeling? Doing all that all the hype man stuff.
Yeah.
And there were some people that were from overseas that don't know who Dougie Fresh is. And they were like, who is this man? Why is he on the stage? And why is he still there? So it was like, I had people coming up to me and going, who is this guy? Why is he there? I was like, that's, you have to be from the United States. Dougie Fresh is a legend. Okay. So
legend. Absolutely.
It was just, so I'm sure there's plenty of artists that are huge overseas in Australia and New Zealand and in Europe and UK and everything. And if we had seen the reverse of that happening and some guy came out that we had never heard of, but was huge over there, they'd be freaking out, and we would be like, "Why is this person on this thing?" So I could see that, but it was great. It was a great set, and it was a good party, and lasted till 2:00 in the morning. So,
Wow.
yeah, wow, for sure. All right, not last day, but Saturday, that finally finished off Friday. So we crawled back to the hotel, got in about 5 hours of sleep, but then came back or whatever for Saturday. Actually, Saturday was we actually got to sleep in Saturday. The Diamond people did, anyways. Excuse me.
Okay.
And for Saturday, they started out with the second half of that London 1993 show, and they kind of finished off that concert. And of course, that concert ended with the song 7, which was the focus of the event. And then after they kind of went through that, then they went onto the fan panel. The fan panel was moderated by Reg Chaplin, and the people that were on the fan panel were Casey Rain and Kim from Violet Reality, Rodney Fitzgerald from Prince 365, Dr. Funkenberry, and D'Angela Duff from NYU. She's one of the provosts at NYU. She does all the symposiums. She does a lot of different symposiums. Right now, they are in the process. I think her and Michael Dean are working through Dwayne Tudall's book, the first book, and they're kind of going through it. I don't know if they're doing it by days or weeks or what they're doing, but it's like a long process, and they're doing a whole thing. And essentially, for the fan panels, they always kind of spoke about what they do, their platforms, some of their ideas that they had about keeping Prince's legacy alive. Right. They kind of spit out a couple of quotes, not their own quotes. They were quotes from other, that they heard Prince say. One of the things was, I think it was D'Angela said, that the quote was from Prince, "Everything you think is true."
Mm-hmm.
And that was a pretty powerful one. And I think even the Prince channel actually reposted that too. And Levi also said, "Prince is the bar above the bar." Also, D'Angela Duff said that she was interviewed for a Prince documentary that is out now. It was released by Reels, called Prince: The Final Secret. And I watched it today. It's actually available on Reels. It's also available on Peacock. I watched it on Peacock. And it is a 45-minute documentary, so it's not very long, but it's the first half hour is doing a really, really quick overview of his career from beginning to end. And then the last 15 minutes talks about his philanthropic efforts, everything that he did on the down low. But it's out there right now. So if you want to check it out, if you have Peacock, you just go search for Prince: The Final Secret. It's out. I think it came out a couple of days ago, and it's out there, and she's all through it. And also what's I found interesting too, is that the documentary also features a gentleman by the name of Eddie Trunk. And for those who don't know who Eddie Trunk is, if you have Sirius XM, they have this this channel where it's like talk radio, where they talk about music the whole entire time. And Eddie Trunk is this big hard rock, heavy metal guy. And that is his thing. He covers all the classic rock bands, like Poison and Kiss and all this stuff. And he's just he's a big hard rock guy. And he was all through this video. So apparently he's also a massive Prince fan as well, which I thought was actually cool. I guess genius knows genius. But
right.
Anyways, again, most of that special is just kind of the history of Prince. From that last 15 minutes is them talking about his philanthropy. So check it out, Prince: The Final Secret, and it's on Peacock. You can check it out. Then they did a Rosie Gaines tribute after the fan panel. And also shout out to Rodney Fitzgerald, who gave a shout out to Brother Jules and also Wally Safford, both of which left us between these two celebrations here, both transitioned in that window. And I think it was important that they do something. Unfortunately, nothing was done or set aside to do that. Maybe in the future they may do, another tribute to Wally, but because Wally was all over everything. You may not recognize Wally, but a lot of people know Wally. Yeah. So it was good that he actually shouted him out. But the Rosie Gaines tribute, they played a short video, and Rosie Gaines actually had called in. And so she actually gave a message to everyone. It was audio only. It wasn't video. Wow. So she actually spoke for, I mean, what seemed like probably a good minute and a half or whatever, talking about everything that Prince had done for her. And then NPG came out, like pretty much everybody, and Morris and Tony and everybody all came out, along with some Paisley Park staff, and both her daughter and her son came out to accept the award on her behalf, which was like this really large dark gray guitar award that was engraved, and it was like a cloud guitar, and I guess it was just a legacy award. So I don't know if they're going to be setting up a new area. I guess it's going to be like their version of like a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but like maybe like a Paisley Park.
Wow.
Version.
Okay.
So that should be pretty cool.
That should be.
And then after that, they went into the 7 panel, which is, you know, surprisingly enough, one of the things that with the 7 panel is they really didn't do a whole bunch talking about 7. I think each one of them had a little bit of an idea of what Prince's focus was with 7 as far as being completeness and with God. But I wasn't aware of everything that was focused on 7. I mean, not just the fact that it's 2023 and 2 + 0 + 2 + 3 is 7. But there were some other things that I was not aware of. But on this panel, before we talk about that, was MPG's Tony Mosley, Levi Caesar, Morris Hayes, and Damon D. Then Mike Koppelman, who was an engineer and producer for Prince, who did Graffiti Bridge, Diamonds and Pearls, and Love Symbol, among some of his work. Also, DJ Rashida was also there as well. Rosie Gaines' daughter, Latoya Gaines, was there as well. And they were talking about the 7. They were talking about the number 7, the significance of it. But Levi was the one that kind of said, for Prince, obviously the number 7 stands for completeness and God. When you look at the album 3121, 3121, if you add the numbers up, adds to 7. Obviously, we just talked about the year being 2023. It's 7. Obviously, he wasn't here for that, but that was kind of the significance of this year for that. That there's 7 colors of the rainbow, the 7 deadly sins, the 7 days of the week. And one thing I didn't think about was DJ Rashida said, there was even significance in the address for Paisley Park, which is 7801 Audubon Road. You got the 7, and then 8 - 1 is 7. It's so as like 7 was everywhere along this whole thing. So it's just, how much he focused on it is a whole different ball game. I mean, I know that he preferred, to focus on 7, but it is what it is. But then they started talking about just individual stories. So they were just kind of just sharing stories. Some of the standout stories were, and I hope I'm not boring everybody here, because I'm kind of doing a lot of everything here. Morris talked about Prince in the holidays and how normally during the holidays, because here they wasn't too incredibly close with his family enough to go over for Thanksgiving or whatever, but he would always be at Paisley Park. And I guess from the timelines and the way that Morris was saying it, it sounded like Morris decided to stay at Paisley Park and work on Thanksgiving. And then just told his mom, I'll just be out there for Christmas, but for Thanksgiving, I'm just going to stay here and work and get some things done. And he was at Paisley Park. He thought he was by himself. He went into the kitchen over by the atrium and he started making himself a sandwich. And Prince came up behind him and was like, "What are you doing here?" He was like, I'm just, I just want to get some work done. And Prince was so happy about that he was there, that he was actually working, that he actually made a call and had somebody come and get Morris to look at some property and literally built a house for Morris Hayes.
Oh, wow.
Just for being there for Thanksgiving kind of spawned this.
Wow.
I guess this gratitude for him being there. And Morris was like, and it's not like no chintzy house. It was a really, really nice house, and built it from the ground up. And
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Yeah. Levi
told a hilarious story where I guess he was being business director or something. He was in a position of business director, and it became time. Payday came, and Tommy Barbarella got his check and was really upset. He said, "This check is wrong. It's like only half the check." He said he was doing the numbers. He's like, "Look, I'm looking at the calculator. I'm looking at this. It's only half a check. It's only half of what it's supposed to be." And so he said, "Can you please ask him about this, because this is wrong." And so Levi goes to Prince and says, Tommy's got this issue with his check, and there's only half a check here, and just kind of curious, what's going on. And Prince was like, "Yeah, I know." And Levi was like, "Okay, why is it only half a check?" Because he's going to ask me why is only half a check. And Prince says, "Because he was only playing with one hand." Apparently, when he went back to watch the show, this is when Tommy Barbarella had that, the long flowing hair, and he was playing with one hand and fixing his hair with the other. And Prince was like, "You play with one hand, you only get a check." So Levi said it was a lesson learned, because Tommy would play with both hands, and was like, "Wow, that's a crazy story."
That's hilarious and horrible at the same time.
Yeah, very horrible, extremely horrible. Yeah, I can't even imagine, because at some point you're like, okay, this is insane. But yeah, so he was playing with one hand, so he only got half a check. Then doesn't make any sense, dude. Anyways,
it will never not be funny, though.
it will never not be funny. It was not funny at the moment for Tommy, I'm sure, but
right
now that we're far removed from it, and I'm sure he's current on his bills, it will never not be funny anymore.
Oh man,
that's like very James Brownie thing to do, I would say.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely. Morris also
pain, but
so Morris is also talking about the movie The Secret. Now, here's something else. So I watched the documentary that Angela talked about to kind of prep a little bit. And then Morris was also talking about how Prince had a love for a movie called The Secret that came out in 2006. That kind of talks about the universal law of attraction. It's a documentary. I hadn't seen it, and luckily it's available for free. If you have a Roku TV, you can just search for it. Just search for The Secret.
Yep.
And it's just about the universal law of attraction, and it's kind of it does a bunch of interviews with like authors and philosophers and scientists, and essentially about visualizing your goals, and they actually teach you how to do it and how to kind of claim those things out of existence. Like the universe is there to give it to you. You just have to ask for it and go through the processes, and that's essentially what you do. So I decided to watch it. It's only an hour and a half documentary, so I watched it, and it was great. It was really, really good. I'm going to rewatch it again because I was watching it while I was working, but it's got some really interesting things in there. I mean, it seems a little new agey, but hey, man.
I really like that movie. I really liked it, and it's a book too. So I mean, the book out and everything. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, I've got to see it. I need to just go see it. Sorry, dropping stuff.
Like I got to say it like Roseanne said. When you get to the end, you realize it's not a secret.
Yeah, it's not a secret now. They kind of be a little bit dramatic in the beginning when they were talking about taking the secret and hiding it from people, and all the people in power were like protecting that secret.
Right.
A couple of different quotes. Prince said, "Nothing is more powerful than a made-up mind." I think that's the same exact thing with what you think is true. That same sentiment. It's just like you put yourself in a negative headspace, and all you're thinking about is the negative things that happen. Kind of like when I talked about the pre-show, when you kind of go down this negative. The flight was late. We sat at the gate. It was like all these negative emotions were going through. I had to walk the furthest point. I had to walk from. It was like the whole night was just a disaster, and I could not get out of that negative headspace. And I realized after watching that too, was like, I'm just attracting all of these negative things. I am attracting all that negative energy by being in that headspace.
That's right.
And so, yeah, I really wanted to watch that. And so for those who want to have a little bit of guidance from Prince himself, that's where you start. There's a lot of other movies that he loved, like Chocolat, that don't have any really inherent value. But this one is The Secret. It came out in 2006 as a documentary. I would tell everybody to check it out and you get yourself, especially for those folks that kind of have like one negative thing happening to you after another. And you're like, why am I in this friggin' spiral?
It really does make a difference. And you do.
Yeah, watch the movie. Yeah. I'm just saying, go ahead.
Yeah, it really does make a difference. And you do attract what you put out there in the universe. And then when it came out, I actually watched it when it came out, and I've always had that in my mind. So I always pay attention to that. It's probably why I'm always like da, 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 da. 'Cause
Yeah. And
most
I'm like
things
the
are
exact,
petty anyway.
and I'm
So.
like the exact opposite. Right. Exactly. I got to fix myself.
I fixed
Got to fix
myself.
myself up.
You need some positivity. Get your plus sign today.
Yes. Yeah. So anyways, what was I going to do? Okay.
I'm so cool.
So then there was then we had two concerts and the DJ set. The first one was Sounds of Blackness concert. I'll quickly go through the set list for Sounds of Blackness concert. They opened up with an a cappella version of Purple Rain, and that was the only Prince song that they did. That was it. And again, you and I had this discussion before. We were talking about, one of the things we would like to see the celebration do is bring these artists in that were tied to Prince, that were related to Prince, because he loved to listen to other music and other artists and things like that. So it's not just all about Prince. It's all about kind of doing something a little bit different.
Right.
And the reality of it is that that's what they did. They kind of did what everybody in our chat room was going, yeah, that would be great. Of course, we were talking a little bit larger. We were kind of claiming the Janelle Monáes and the Michelle and Deggiocellos and the, we were claiming all those things. But the reality of it is that Sound of Blackness was really well tied with Prince in a lot of different ways. But there were so many people that had traveled a very, very long time to kind of hear, at least sprinkle some good bit of Prince in there. Just because that's who we are. We're there for a Prince celebration. It was kind of like, just, maybe mix it up a little bit more. Again, this was feedback that I heard. And not that I necessarily disagree. I loved what they did, but I kind of feel like, I could have stood it, because I'm not really familiar. I'll be honest. I wasn't really familiar with Sounds of Blackness as far as their original material. And I wasn't really familiar outside of Min Condition. I really wasn't familiar with Stokely's solo stuff either. I'll just be honest. I just wasn't.
No, that makes sense.
I just wasn't. I mean, it's not that I don't love it. I love all kinds of R&B music and stuff, but Stokely was just not something I just never. I liked his stuff. It was really, really good, and the show was fantastic. But I just kind of felt like I wasn't hearing anything familiar. It's like kind of when I took my daughter, Jolie, who was 20 at the time. I took her to go see Childish Gambino because he was in Atlanta, and that was like the final show that he was going to do. And I said, you need to see him, because he's friggin' amazing. Donald is, you got to check the Childish Gambino. Took her there. She enjoyed the whole entire show, but she didn't know any of it, except for there was a couple songs from his previous albums that she knew. Right. But she enjoyed the show, like I enjoyed the Sound of Blackness and Stokely. But you still kind of feel like it would be better to kind of be able to feel it and sing along and whatever. And I saw that was the case. I was looking around. I was like, am I alone? And I was able to look around and see that there was a lot of people that were the same way. They were like, so I'm feeling this. I don't know any of these things.
So I challenge anyone who sat in that and listened to Sounds of Blackness, liked a couple of songs, and didn't hear enough Prince, to go out and listen to more Sounds of Blackness.
They're fantastic.
Then next time you'll appreciate it, because they're
exactly
awesome.
Yeah, and I think that would have been a good idea. That would have been a good idea if you're going to Sounds of Blackness and Stokely's going to play. Prep yourself. Yeah, prep yourself.
Check them out. Why are they there? Check them out.
Yeah, prep yourself. Listen to some of their discography and check it out. I mean, they're a multi-Grammy Award winning band.
Exactly.
Check them out. That was my bad. I was doing a lot. I had lots going on, but that was my bad. But it did open with an a cappella version of Purple Rain, and the other songs they did were Whatever It Takes, Someday We Will All Be Free, I Believe, We Are the Drum, which was a great song, Black Butterfly, which is a great song.
Yes.
Hold Up Your Light, hashtag You're Gonna Win, Head to the Sky, and then they closed with the song that was written by Levi Caesar called Hold On, Change Is Coming, which is another great song. So there was a lot of great songs that were in that mix, but I just wasn't familiar with any of them. And I have a little bit of a special gift for Stokely folks. Okay. And I'm gonna say what that is. because with Stokely, very few of his songs have really identifiable titles. It's kind of like Led Zeppelin in that way, where it's like you don't even say that one time. So like you kind of write down lyrics and then you kind of go onto Google Edit and say Stokely lyrics and then put in quotes what a line that you heard, and hopefully you can land on the song. But I'm gonna make myself large again. And do we have any like really hardcore Stokely fans out there? I want to see in the chat room. We got like tons of people in here. I mean, gosh, we got hundreds of people between the chat room and between the radio station. We got tons of Stokely fans in here. Yeah. So I was writing down like lyric pieces of his songs because I didn't know the titles, except for the Mint Condition was like, I know that one. And then he did he also did a medley of Prince songs in the middle. He did Private Joy, Cool, The Time's Cool, and 1999. So he did that. But I really wasn't familiar with any of the other ones. I knew Level, which was a new one. But Stokely gave me the set list off of the stage.
Oh, wow.
So I have the set list right here from the stage from Stokely. So if I've got any hardcore Stokely fans in here who would like die to have this set list, just let me, I don't know. Should we do like a drawing or something? I don't know. I will send this to like a hardcore Stokely fan, but I don't even know how to even pick this person.
Well, the first person to actually say it was right here.
That said that they wanted this?
They said they were exclamation points.
Lee Aquarius Bird said me first. Okay. All right. Lee's first. That was the wrong thing. It's got a lot of people clicking. Everybody's kind of coming in.
I saw Simon Stone say something first. Maybe I missed it. I marked it. Okay.
Well, just tell me who to send this to, and we'll reach out to that person, and I will send this to you. I will send you this. I will send you Stokely's set list. He actually touched this. Here it is. It's a set list, and thank you. But I'm going to make sure that hardcore fan has it in their hands. Not that I didn't like it, and not that that's a really cool thing that was on the stage. But
that's pretty cool.
I want to make sure we continue to give back as part of the law of attraction, gratitude.
Hello.
And giving here. So just tell me who it is, and then we'll reach out to that person, and we'll get them to send them their address, and we'll send it. Only continental United States, though. Actually, it doesn't really matter. It's a letter, so wherever. And then, of course, the night was closed with Club 3121 with DJ Rashida, who played a couple of songs before they decided. Oh, I'm sorry. I actually did have a picture of DJ D Nice, and I did not put the picture up. That was DJ D Nice with Dougie Fresh that was out there. I just had to do a screen capture from a video because I took all video and I didn't do any things. And of course, that was the set list I just showed. There was that. And then after DJ Rashida played a couple of songs, then this band came out, and they said they were going to be doing a Tina Turner tribute, and they had a full band come out and do like, I guess it was probably about 5 songs, but they did like, a lot of her biggest hits.
Wow.
And I have like 5 clips on my phone of Simply the Best, because I always sang that to Jaden when she was getting out of the car for school, like just to try to embarrass her a little bit. Like she'd get out of the car and she'd open the door and I'd be like, "You're simply the best," and I'd start singing the song and she'd be like, you can see like her being embarrassed. She's like, "Shut up." So I wanted to kind of capture that clip of that part, and for some reason I remember I just forgot how the song flowed, but I kept like catching these little bits. I didn't want to play like a whole entire song because she'd be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
I just wanted to capture the Simply the Best part, and it didn't end up that way. So anyways, it's just funny. Anyway, so that was finally, and of course now we're going to Sunday, and Sunday's a short day, so we're really close to done here. This is a long show, but what do you expect? We've been gone for this is like we've been gone for so long.
I mean, this is ketchup. This ketchup, mustard relish. This is I miss you guys. We miss you.
we're trying to make sure, I'm trying to make sure that you experience a celebration, even if you get an opportunity to go, for a variety of reasons. And obviously the biggest reason is if you were on the fence and you were like, do I need to go? Should I go? I was looking at the lineup. I was looking at everything that was there. Is this going to be worth my time? Is it going to be worth my effort to actually come out and do this? Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes. I mean, because the reality of it is, and Jeff Paige, you were there for this was the first time that you ever went was last year. And you can share with them really quickly about what it's like vibe wise with all those Prince fanatics that are there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not, I don't even have to go into too much of it. You can feel it now just by the recap. I mean, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is all types of people coming together. It is it's Uptown. Think of the song Uptown. Everybody can get together and be whoever they are, and you have a blast. And I'm just gonna say big ups to anyone and everyone who went to Prince Day Houston and then went to Minneapolis. Big ups to all of you who took that leap and said, let's do this, and went to both events, because man, I'm sure and I know both events were totally worth it. So that's just gonna extend this time and do them both.
And to be clear, I would have done that, but with me just coming in from Maui the day before, I was like, I just can't do it. I just can't. And I'm still dying. I mean, I didn't do it, and I still am dragging. I can't imagine what I would be like if I did that. All right, so let's close it out. Let's talk about Sunday. Gospel brunch. Man, okay. The gospel brunch was the shiznit, okay? It was amazing. It was so friggin' great. First off, this was the menu for the gospel brunch. They had a s'more French toast. So they had French toast that was drizzled in chocolate, and they had marshmallows all through it. What? And they also, it was crazy. It was really friggin' good. And all of it was vegetarian. All of it was vegetarian. They had egg strata's not, unless she said everything was vegetarian. I was like, well, how do you make scrambled eggs with that? That's not.
It's what's it called? What's that one where they pour?
No. Because this was eggs. I mean, if this was not eggs, who else was there? Because if that was eggs, if that was not eggs, then I need to know what those were, because I mean, you typically, especially in your diet, you didn't want to stay away from eggs because of the cholesterol or whatever. But it was so friggin' good. They had egg strata, which was basically eggs, and there was spinach and cheese and a bunch of stuff that was in there. It was kind of like
it's probably that Simply Eggs, that the pouring, it looks like eggs when you cook it.
But Simply Eggs is eggs. It's just doesn't.
One of those. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. There is a version that's plant-based, whatever.
Whichever one it is.
They had gold potatoes, and they had Morningstar sausage, which is obviously, and of course they had coffee, tea, and orange juice. The orange juice was fresh squeezed orange juice, and it was so good. I had 3 glasses of orange juice, and I was sitting at the table, and I turned to O, and I said, did you get this orange juice? And she was like, they didn't have any more. And I'm like sitting there with my third cup, and I'm just like, oh snap, really?
Damn. Sucks to you.
Ooh, I'm sorry about that.
You're getting drunk off orange juice. Somebody take my keys.
but luckily they found more orange juice, so we're good. It wasn't, it was just it was what it was. All right, so that was the menu. So let me the band that performed was known MPLS, and I'm trying to figure out where to fit this in, because one of the bands that was supposed to perform was the Steels, and apparently I don't know what happened, but the Steels did not perform. Then I read the John Bream article. I doubt there's no way that Charles Spicer is still in here. There's no way. I just can't see him still being here for the long haul. This is a long show.
Surprised we're still here.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're still here. Right. Yeah. If I wasn't doing the show, I'd already be gone. So much love to all of you for sure. So let's talk about, okay. So the Steelers are supposed to play, and according to John Bream in the Star Tribune, he said it, not me. He said there was something that he reached out to JD Steele, and JD Steele said there was something contractually that was an issue, that something didn't work out, something didn't vibe, and so they didn't do it. But So I obviously was a little disappointed because I wanted to see the Steels, but this band, holy crap. If you have not seen the clip that I did where they did a version of Prince's I Would Die For You and they changed it to Jesus Died For You.
Mm.
And it was so powerful. Everything that they did was powerful. They did a tribute to George Floyd. There was a song called I Can Finally Breathe Again. It was everything about this group was powerful from front to back. I still have some clips that I have not shared because they had some other songs that I just didn't know how receptive you guys would be for me posting all this stuff because some of the stuff that I recorded was not Prince related or whatever. But this band was absolutely fantastic. I mean, they are the gentleman in the front in the red suit. He's obviously the leader, but he teaches, and I wish that I got his name. I am so sorry. KnownMPLS.com is the website for these guys, and he teaches choir in a school, and he found that the students were intentionally coming to school, other kids that may otherwise not even come to school were intentionally coming to school just to make sure that they could be in his class. So he started this project called Known MPLS to start a choir outside of the school structure. And it's a massive undertaking, and he just gets kids off of the streets, and he just put together the most amazing, spiritual filled, breathtaking, like literally, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I was like, hey, Sounds of Blackness better step the game up. It was just that level. I guess they also have like way more people than Sounds of Blackness too, but the level of harmonies and how tight the harmonies were between everybody that was on the stage was just wow.
Okay.
I mean, he was paying attention to every single little. Every single person was pitch perfect. I've never seen. I was standing like almost the whole time. I was just like, holy crap, this is like incredible.
Wow.
Of course, whenever I was sitting down eating and then I was standing, I was like, yeah. And I turn around and I see everybody else is sitting down. I was like, okay, I'm sitting down. I'm gonna eat but they were so amazing. Me being a vocalist, I'm drawn to that. I'm drawn to really good, strong vocals, and especially those tight harmonies. And this band was so fantastic. The good news is they did an amazing show, and they played for the entire time. I guess that would have been their time, and also the Steels place as well. And what was really awesome is that Londell actually came on the stage and was giving them a lot of shout outs and a lot of love, and told them that he is opening up the doors to Paisley Park for them to come in and record their first album at Paisley Park.
That's wonderful.
And all the kids were like, jumping up and down, and some were crying, and because this is like a dream come true to be able to
absolutely.
be in a band like this and be in a project and then be given the keys to Paisley Park to come in and record your first album here at Paisley Park was just it was fantastic. It's nothing but love for MPLS. I'm just gonna say it was really phenomenal. Please go check out Known MPLS and definitely follow them and check out the clip. Facebook.com/Funkatopia. Check out the clip that I put up of Jesus Died For You. It is great, and check that out. And of course, the piece de resistance was I'm walking on the stage, Noreen Nelson. So Londell and Charles Spicer actually walked Noreen out, and she had a whole entire speech that was probably about a minute and a half, a couple minutes speech. I actually did that whole entire speech, put it out on Facebook. So she was just talking about Prince, and she was talking about the spirituality of it. And the Sunday, being on Sunday for the gospel brunch was perfect because she's she's a Christian woman, and she's very, very spiritual. And so that really tied in well with her message and about, Prince's spirituality and God. And it was just really, it was very, very touching. I know a lot of people were just like holding their breath the whole time that she was talking, because she's such an iconic figure, especially in the Nelson lineage. And it's just, so it was great to see her there, because just to have somebody that's actually, family there coming out and just saying, here's what's up. This is what it's about.
Right.
It's that's
that had to be.
It's just, it was pretty amazing. So, and then of course, after that, general admission folks were given their tour of Paisley Park, and then after that, they had the outdoor social and testimonials that were happening until 5 o'clock out on the lawn. Or it was just, I don't know where it was, because I left, just because I was so tired, and I just kind of felt like I just needed to kind of unwind and and just kind of recap and kind of commit everything to notes and everything. So all that being said, there you go. There's your recap of the celebration. And man, that's a heck of a recap. I'm sorry. Apologies for as long as that went. So here's what I can say, because I know that Londell McMillan was in here, Charles Spicer was in here, and John Nelson Jr. was in here. They said they were going to watch. I saw Charles in here. Here's what I can tell you. He's probably still not here, but here's the takeaways. First off, thank you so much for putting this together and continuing to keep this event alive.
Absolutely.
I think it's a great idea, and the direction that you guys are going is really, really good with, bringing the bands in there that were related to Prince or had close ties to Prince, to kind of mix things up and make it a broader appeal. I will say, the main feedback that we heard was that they wanted to hear more Prince. I mean, you come to a Prince celebration, it's like, it's okay, the band's up there playing their own stuff, but they kind of feel like, this is just feedback. This just could be spoiled people that are just saying, I want more Prince.
It usually is just spoiled people wanting more Prince.
And I get that. But on the same note, when you are a hardcore Prince fan that has paid, even on the
Prince celebration,
I mean, you're spending, $1,500 for VIP and even, half that or whatever for GA. And on top of that, all the merchandise that you purchase. And on top of that, everything that you incur with the expenses for the hotel and the expenses that you incur for the rental cars and everything that's involved with, you're talking about thousands of dollars that every single person had to spend.
Right.
And I think that, it's going to be very, very important that at some point in time, I'm sure that in the email, there will be an email that will be coming from Paisley Park going, what did we do wrong? What did we do right? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Right.
Even though people are feeling free to do that on Twitter right now, and it's just completely just hammered with negativity. And I literally am thinking about dropping off of Twitter, because it seems like everything I say, people are just like attacking me. And it's like, I'm just telling you what I was told. Please fucking stop.
Yeah.
Please stop doing this to me. I was like, somebody says something to me. Obviously, I got the message wrong with Charles Spicer about them releasing it tomorrow. He was talking about people are going to release it tomorrow, and they did. So as far as those 2 unreleased songs that we talked about, all A shared together now. That's the name of the track. It's a weird title. All A shared together now. You can go onto YouTube and search for Prince, that title, and you'll be able to find it. You'll be able to check it out. Also with the 7 in E flat, that's also out there as well. People are uploading it that were at the celebration. You might not know who they are, but we're not going to do it because it's going to officially come out. However, I will tell you that I did make it part of the rotation on Funked Up. So you may possibly hear it come through, but it's at the 128K, just like they released it. So, and Charles gave me his blessing. He said, go ahead. So that's what I did, but I'm not doing it on the show because I didn't want to take up all the time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I will say, of the feedback that has come from some of that, I believe that it is not unreasonable to have these acts come in and request or require them to play more Prince songs, because again, I don't disagree with that. This is a Prince celebration, and any outside artist who's coming to a Prince celebration is a Prince fan too, most likely. So,
what about Law? Worrell?
Yeah,
I don't understand why Law had been pushed into this scenario. For those who are in Minneapolis, Law, Law
Worrell.
Dude is a monster. Not only is he a fantastic guitarist and he has a fantastic band,
he's a
but
showman.
He does it up right as far as the Prince stuff is concerned. There are artists out there like Law that get out there and they just hammer it, and it's just it's not that he's covering Prince, but he's doing his own little versions of Prince songs. He's kind of doing remixes and restructuring songs and remixing tracks, and I think Prince fans are okay with that. Man, put your own taste on it. Go and put your own spin on it. There are tons of bands out there that would be willing to do that. So I agree with that statement.
Right. He's a showman. Like he performs. He doesn't just play the songs. But yeah, if you get a band, you have them come out, and you just say, hey, we do want you to do this because it's a Prince celebration. Anybody can do that. I mean, it's that simple. We need a few songs. We need a few more than just one. and then we're good.
Yeah, I think people just kind of feel a certain way when they come to a Prince celebration. It's just not that. But
yeah,
the other thing I would say, stop locking up the phones. Okay, you can lock up the phones in the museum area, but once they cross over into the performance area, it doesn't matter whether or not it's Stokely, doesn't matter whether or not it's Shelby J performing or whoever, unless it's a specific artist request, stop locking up the phones.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I say this is because they want to figure out ways to open up the marketing to a broader audience. And this is what the kids and this generation is doing right now. They are recording everything. They are making snippets on TikTok. They are making snippets on Instagram. They are all over the place this generation is not on Facebook. Our generation is still on Facebook. But there is so much marketing that can be done for all. You got thousands of people or hundreds of people. I don't know what the total is on all this. So a couple thousand, I guess. You got all these people that are at this event, and all of which could be sending out clips, exciting people going, oh my God, that looks awesome. I wish I was there. But instead you've got the phones locked up. So nobody, and they've got to rely on me to just ramble off this stuff. I just think it makes more sense to just unlock the phones and just let it be. It doesn't hurt anybody. It does not taking any money out of anybody's plate. It's just, I think you want to get the people excited. You want to get people going. Stop locking up the phones there. You want to protect the museum. I get it. If I'm doing a museum and I don't want somebody with a phone doing a full blown walkthrough of my museum that I'm charging people to walk in and see. I get that. That makes sense. But in that performance area, no. That performance area needs to be wide open. Let the phones be open. Let the people take clips and share them and get people excited. I think that makes sense. Total sense.
Plus, the fact is, on the stage, these artists that are going out there now, they want everyone to see them. They want these posts out there. This world is grown and exploded as far as what they're trying to do, move things forward on social media, on clips, on videos, and it's a live stage. Yeah, I'd be hard pressed to find a bunch of artists that are, hey, I'm performing at Paisley Park, but I don't want anyone to record me. I don't know.
Nate said, bring back Kirk and Prince live on the big screen with MPG. Well, I'm not sure what was going on. I know they've done a lot of changes with staffing and whatnot, and that Kirk's really kind of not in that mix anymore. But I was talking with Kirk almost every single day that I was there I was hanging, and we didn't get a chance to hang out. He did come for the Stokely concert, but we didn't get a chance to hang out. But I was talking to him the whole time that I was there, and it was I think that he misses being a part of it and putting that kind of stuff together, but it's like a huge production. And I think it's kind of a little bit bittersweet because you practice for months to try to get this perfect concert event that is synchronized with the actual Prince concert so that people can relive the entire live scenario. And you practice to play it twice. And then that's it. So there's no kind of real support to kind of take it on the road. And I know, Kirk and I were talking about this before, and I talked to Tony about it too. He's like, what do you think? We need to take us on the road. I was like, yeah, absolutely. That needs to go on the road, but it needs to be very, very strategic about the places that they go. You can't take it to South Dakota. You can't need this. There's really take it to New York, Atlanta, Miami, Los Angeles, maybe San Francisco, Houston. Just hammer these places that are going to sell tickets, and the people there's a Prince Corps. I mean, some of these smaller cities just don't make any sense, but you can make it. London, oh my gosh, I mean, they are like, you saw when NPG went over. NPG went on tour. They went over there to Europe, and they about lost their mind. It was like hacked. It was thousands and thousands of people. NPG can't draw thousands of people, even in a big city here in the States. They go over there to Europe, and they're just like, yes, thank you, bring it. Chiaria said Vegas residency. I could see that. I could see that too. I could see that too. I might actually consider going to Vegas, because you can actually find relatively inexpensive places to stay in Vegas. So,
I'm thinking about it, and I know I'm kind of jumping back and forth because I'm always on the fence about the phone thing, because I see both sides, and sometimes it's annoying when you're trying to enjoy something and somebody's got this up in your face, and some people don't know how to turn their lights off or turn them on and all that. And I always almost wonder, would it be how difficult it would be to actually have them record the video and post it somewhere for like the VIPs or the people who, all the people, hey, they have everyone's information, and there's nothing wrong with offering access to the performances.
A video of what?
Record the performances. It's one extra thing. I mean, but if somebody's got to record, I mean, I've done that, and I see the value in it. No one else has to worry about their phones. They can just enjoy the show because they know they're going to get a copy of the performance.
Yeah.
I mean,
and let me give a really an apology.
To think about.
An apology to Samantha McCarroll-Hine. We were supposed to do lunch when I got in, and it was just nothing but just a whirlwind. It was just a whirlwind. But I promise you, next time I'm up in Minneapolis, I will resolve that. Or when you're in Atlanta, let me know. I'll fix that. I'm so sorry we didn't get a chance to hang out. But there were so many people that I met, and I just met so many people. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's broadcast. It was a long time coming. We took 2 weeks off, and it's a lot. And thank you so much to everybody that stopped in. Shelby J, thank you for stopping in. Charles Spicer, thank you for stopping in. Londell, I know you were in here, and you're one of those guys just kind of quiet, just kind of sitting there taking it in. Same thing with John Nelson Jr.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys for staying, because
we appreciate everybody that thank you. We appreciate the celebration, and we had a great time. Hopefully, listen, Londell, Charles, listen, maybe next year we can come as media and actually be able to take some pictures and whatnot, maybe have a little bit more access, so we can kind of, not that we need anything more detailed than what we just gave you, but kind of been doing this for a minute, and I don't know, just
oh boy,
maybe give my dog a bone. I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
Patty whack.
I don't know.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I absolutely loved hanging out with all you guys, and thank you for the amazing turnout tonight to check us out and see what we're kind of talking about the celebration. Not sure what we're doing next week. I actually have a couple of ideas.
Cool.
I have a couple of ideas, but trying to work it all through, and I have a couple of guests that said they would like to come on the show, so we're talking about that too. Shout out to Tamar Davis. I talked to her today, and shout out to her, and she's doing some phenomenal stuff. Tamar is actually doing something on Hulu, so she's killing it. So you're going to see a lot more of Tamar as well, and I think that I don't know if it got canceled or not, but Andy Allo's show that's on Amazon. What's it called? Upload, I think. I think they're working on the second season, I heard, but I also heard somebody say that they might not be doing a second season. So either way, keeping an eye out for it because any Prince fam needs to be supported. You got to keep them moving. That's
Absolutely.
For sure. Oh, it said what year?
There's you're such a tease.
Oh yeah, you're such a tease. If I remember correctly, it was 1980. Let me pull it up back in. It is literally an earworm. I'm sorry, 1980. It's recorded in 2006, and it was just the way that the song was structured. You could tell there was a lot of thought put into all the pieces and the structures, and how the songs just kind of bounce around from like one structure to another. You're such a tease. It's oh my god. When that song comes out, that's going to be like my jam. I'm going to put it on like once an hour on Funked Up. I'm telling you. It's just please release that song. All right. I hope you guys had a fantastic time. We love all you. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Welcome to Francis Starr, the newest Patreon supporter that just joined. And yeah, man. Any Patreon supporters, if you don't know, we have an app called Funked Up. And it is a online radio station, and it is amazing. We have 2 radio stations. One is 24/7 Prince, and the other one is Funk, 24/7 Funk. Also has some Prince mixed in as well. Both are ASCAP licensed. Both of them. We actually, when we play the artist's song, we pay the artist. So that's the reason why we need the Patreon support, is because we want to make sure that the artists get paid. Also, we kind of give out files too. I think I shared, I share all kinds of music for you guys, and I hope you guys join. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we continue having a lot of fun with everybody that joined. And the only thing I got to do, I have to update that funkatopia.com/hours reporter page. That needs drastically needs updated, but
yeah.
All right. So that was the journey for Diamond, VIP Diamond. You got a little bit of and of course then Jeff Paige has got his
Prince Day Houston.
Jeff Paige has got his Prince Day Houston stuff. So we had representation on both sides of the continent.
Boom.
And also Minneapolis. That's how we do.
Wake me when you're done.
All right, everybody. Hope you guys had a great time. Good night, everyone. And we'll talk to you next week. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but it's coming for sure. Good night. Too many buttons.